For all of that, though, our first guest is on a mission to achieve the body of her dreams, even if that means risking her own life.
At just 30 years old, Scarlett has undergone 4 Brazilian butt lifts, the world's most dangerous cosmetic procedure.
And as her dramatic transformation is laid bare in Olivia Attwood's new documentary, The Price of Perfection, she's joined us now alongside Dr. Zoe. Good morning to all you. Scarlett, thank you for coming in.
Morning.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
It's an extraordinary thing for us to look at. You're 30, you're gorgeous, you're lovely, and clearly you have... I think it's probably an addiction to trying to find a way to create the perfect body in your mind. When did you start on this sort of cosmetic challenge journey?
Well, my first surgery that I had, I think I was 20 years old. I had my boobs done. And obviously I had that done and I thought, oh, that was nice. So then I went and had my nose done. And then the BBL started, I think 5 years ago, I had my first one. And then I've kind of tried to have one every year. I did skip a year, but so I've had 4 altogether now.
And Scarlett, what were you like when you were a little girl? What did you look like? And what was your appearance like? And what do you think it was that made you go, I'm not enough as I am, I want to be different?
I think I was always kind of on the curvier side. I was never that skinny. And I think I thought to myself, you know what, if I'm going to be curvy, let's be really curvy or something, you know, let's make the most of it and let's kind of see if I can, have some stuff done. So I am kind of happy with how I look.
And was that a really kind of personal choice that you made in your own mind, or were you influenced by social media or by fashion or by magazines? What was it that influenced you?
I mean, of course, social media obviously is a big thing. Obviously, celebrities, you see the Kardashians having everything done and you think, oh, I want to look like them, don't you? So it definitely does influence how you think, seeing everybody else get these things done. And, you don't want people on the internet, calling you fat or something. I get that all the time. But
you get that all the time?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I've had 4 rounds of lipo and they still call me fat. So you can't win, can you?
But do you find it easy to ignore that sort of comment because you're looking after yourself and you're doing what you want to do? Or is that one of the reasons that you feel like you're constantly searching for something more?
No, to be honest, they don't bother me because at the end of the day, I'm happy with how I look. I get these things done for me. I don't get them done for anybody else. So, no matter how many things I could have done, people would still have stuff to say.
Well, Kat makes an interesting question about what you were like as a little girl because, of course, you have a family, you have a mum, parents that I'm sure have their own feelings about this. What does your mum make of the fact that you're putting yourself through this, particularly this most really dangerous procedure, which is the Brazilian butt lift?
Well, of course, everybody was like, no, don't get it done. Please don't get it done. Obviously, it's really dangerous. And they were worried, but I think they knew that I was going to do it anyway. Once I got my mind set to something, I'm going to do it. So, yeah, I don't think anybody was really that happy that I was getting it done, but I think they're just glad that I'm happy now that I've had it done.
And how do they feel about the way you look compared to where you were as a young girl growing up as a teenager? I
mean, yeah, it's probably sad to see that, I wasn't happy with how I looked naturally. I can understand that completely. But at the end of the day, I'm a lot happier now that I've had everything done. So I think that's all that matters.
Because, it is a really risky surgery, actually. And obviously, those risks go up depending on where you choose to go and the surgeon you choose to use. And you actually didn't you get some burning from one of the operations?
So my first one, I got some lipo burns on the sides, which at the time I kind of just didn't realise that wasn't really the norm.
Sorry, that was your first one?
Yeah, that was my first round, so I didn't realise that kind of wasn't normal.
Right.
It's only when I've had 3 more, I thought, oh yeah, that weren't normal, I shouldn't have had that. But it is one of the complications and one of the risks that you do know that could happen. Obviously, I took the risk and I got those
Did that not
burns.
put you off, though? That would have put me off. I would have gone, you know what? I'm not sure about that. I'm not going to do that again.
Well, they healed okay. There's little scars and stuff. But at the end of the day, I knew the risks going in. And like I said, I thought it was normal.
Scarlett,
yeah.
Can you just explain the procedure as well? Because I think it's something that is quite hard to understand if you don't know what's gone into it.
So basically what they do is they lipo you first. So I have 360 lipo.
Which means they suck your fat out of your body, various bits of your body. Which bits of your body?
So I had stomach, upper back, lower back, arms, legs, double chins, literally 360s everywhere basically.
And the 360 is what makes that more dangerous, isn't it?
I think the dangerous part is when they inject it back into the bum. I think that's the dangerous
Okay, so they take all this fat that they've sucked out.
Yeah, and then they kind of get the purest fat out of it and then they inject it back into the bum. And I think that's the part that's risky and dangerous because if they inject it into the wrong place, it can like block an artery or something.
Yeah, okay. And then the recovery. How long does it take before you can just move around normally?
Well, you can't sit down for 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah, you can't drive, you can't sit down. You have to just either stand up or lay down for 6 weeks straight. And then even after that, it's still, you know, another like 1 to 2 months kind of like before you can kind of do everything normal again.
Scarlett, in the show, obviously you'd gone down to theatre. You didn't meet your surgeon until 5 minutes before you went kind of down to theatre. And obviously you were in theatre, so you didn't see. But when I watched it, Olivia was really worried about you because you'd literally just had this conversation with the doctor and then the doctor didn't want her to go into the theatre all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So she was really worried about it. Did you do lots of research and things like that?
Yeah, so I'd done lots of research, but that is kind of normal. When you're having surgery abroad, you don't meet the surgeon until right before. Obviously, when you have a surgery in England, you kind of go up and you have a consultation, you meet them before. But where they're in another country,
you don't.
Your consultation is just sending them photos online. So it's not until the day that they actually take a look at you and see, like, oh, are you actually suitable? And I think he did say, like, you have got a lot of scar tissue because it was, like, obviously not my first time having it.
Right.
So I think maybe that's why Olivia was concerned that she was like worried it wasn't going to all go okay.
The problem is though, once you're in that position and you're in your gown and you're marked up, it's like, well, I'm here now. I might as well do it.
But you could back down if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Scarlett, you had to go abroad because you actually, no one would have given you the 4th butt lift over here. Is that right?
I mean, I wouldn't have had it done in England anyway because the surgeons in England like to do it very kind of natural, and that wasn't the kind of look that I wanted. When you go abroad, they do give you the more extreme look. So I didn't.
So they'll take more. Okay. So
I didn't even look at the UK surgeons.
Right.
Zoe, Scarlett's described the procedure, which sounds extraordinarily invasive, very, very dangerous. From a medical perspective, how do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, of all the cosmetic procedures out there, it does have the highest death rate. I think, you know, I'm not here to judge Scarlett, and you obviously knew the risks and you weighed up the benefits and the risks for you, and you felt that having that surgery fell on the side of benefit. You were willing to take that risk. And you could say the same about all cosmetic surgery. You know, we could judge and say, but, you know, you don't need it, so you shouldn't have it. But there's a whole industry there that isn't going anywhere. But I think that's exactly the key thing, is that people are aware of the risks and are they willing to take them. I do worry about people going abroad, though, for that reason, that they're not regulated in the same way. You know, we're very surgical techniques, as long as they're being done by a surgeon who's registered in the right way. They're very, very safe environments. They're very clean environments. You know, they have certain procedures in place, like, you know, even swabs that you use there's a count at the beginning, there's a count at the end, so you're making sure you're not leaving anything inside the body. My concerns about going abroad is that they don't necessarily have those same procedures and regulations, and also the follow-up care as well. So as you were saying, 6 weeks that you can't sit down, that's really difficult. Like, that's a really difficult period of your life, and I think a lot of people do need follow-up. They do need to be assessed. Infections are really common with this procedure as well. So, of course, the NHS will always look after people wherever they've had their surgery, but not having access to your surgeon to be assessed by them and examined by them is a concern as well. But yeah, there's a whole range of possible dangerous side effects. The most important one that Scarlett mentioned is something called fat embolism. So when the fat is sucked out of the body in various different places, goes through a process of purification and then is injected into the butt. If it's injected into the muscle, it can accidentally go into a blood vessel. That fat can then travel to the heart and then travel to the lung and block the lung, and that causes pulmonary embolism, PE, which can be fatal. So that's the biggest concern. But the other concerns are about infection, tissue necrosis. So that's when tissue actually dies. So you can get hard, lumpy appearance from that. And I just think the impact that it has on your life, 6 weeks not being able to sit down.
Zoe, what were the burns? What's that?
So when they've taken the fat out of the body, they have to warm up the fat and separate the fat in order to suck it out into the tube.
Right.
So purely the heat, the temperature that device has to go up to can potentially cause burns.
Right.
Scarlett, do you feel satisfied at the moment with how you're looking and what you've managed to create?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely satisfied, and that was my last round, so I'm not having any more.
Any more of anything or any more of...
I mean, nothing for a long time. I've got no plans at the minute.
And have you had any surgery or any procedures that you regret after having them done?
No, I haven't, to be fair. I've always had a good experience, but obviously I know that's not the same for everybody. Like, everyone has different experiences, but I've always had a very positive experience, which is why I was happy to, like, have it all filmed and everything, because it's nice to show, like, a different side, because you always hear, like, these horror stories. I thought it's nice just to show, like, a positive experience as well.
Well, Olivia is brilliant at doing the show. She's absolutely brilliant. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Zoe.
Great to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
And Olivia Atwood's The Price of Perfection starts tonight at 10:05 on ITV2 and ITVX. I had to watch some of it behind my pillow there.
Yes, it is pretty graphic, isn't it?
There was quite a lot going on in certain Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
Just fascinating. He takes up to 50 supplements a day, has had his son's plasma injected into him in a bid to remain youthful. So, is there a method out of bounds that Brian would use that perhaps isn't the right thing for him, or would he just try anything? We're going to find out this morning. Lovely to meet you. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's an extraordinary thing that you're trying to achieve, and a little bit overwhelming at times as well, Brian. What made you want to start on this journey?
Well, I think that, if we travel in time to, let's say, a few hundred years into the future, and they're looking back at our time and place, I think they might say two things about this moment. One is, this is the remarkable moment when humans gave birth to a new form of intelligence in the form of AI. And secondly, this is the moment when humans figured out they wouldn't die.
So tell us, first of all, what was your life like before you went on this mission? Paint a picture for us.
I was an entrepreneur, and I bought the narrative that when you are an entrepreneur, you don't sleep or exercise. You really martyr your health in order to be successfully financially. And so I was not well rested. I was obese. I was depressed. I was really sad. And so I was in a bad spot, and I needed to make some big changes in my life.
And is that what the catalyst was, essentially, that you felt so unhealthy? Or was it always a dream of yours that actually I want to live forever?
Yeah, so it's not even about living forever. It's just about being your very best self. And culture currently tells us that you should martyr your health in order to achieve financial success.
Right.
And that leads to all sorts of problems, mental health disorders, obesity, metabolic disease. And so I thought, this is really wrong, that culture is telling us to do bad things to our body and our minds, and we're supposed to just do it. And so I wanted to really explore that, of what could you do if you applied the world's best science in a rigorous way. What is possible?
Now, fortunately, you're in a position where you can afford to do this because you've been very successful as an entrepreneur and you've made millions of dollars, and now you have a team around you that helps you implement this lifestyle. Just talk us through what your routine is then, Brian, on an average day.
Yeah, so first I should probably prime and say, because what I'm going to say is probably pretty alarming to a lot of people, but I do spend 5 hours every day going through my longevity protocol. It begins at 4:30 in the morning, where I do a series of, I get light in my eyes, I take my temperature, I do an hour of exercise, I do 20 minutes of sauna, I do 90 minutes of hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and 6 minutes of red and near light. And then I have a lot of vegetables, berries, nuts, seeds, extra virgin olive oil. I have become the most measured person in human history. And so we do this entire process, but a lot of people get confused. I am a professional rejuvenation athlete. So it's like, take your favorite athlete and look at their training protocol. I'm doing something similar, but for anti-aging.
Do you ever go, I just can't be bothered today. I just want a cup of tea and I want to put my feet up.
Actually, I don't feel as good when I do that. I really enjoy what I do on a daily basis. It makes me very happy.
So do you feel like it's become addictive as well? It feels like the more you're doing, the more you're experiencing, the more you're seeing the difference, the more you want it?
I feel like I found a passion, a hobby, a pursuit. I love it. I love the process of training. I love measurement. I love learning the science and then feeding them back in. I love when we find insights that I can take to other people and say, here, let me take this really complicated thing and make it really simple for you. Because I know that people don't have the time or the money that I do. So we try to take these things and make it really easy for people to do, that are free and that everybody can do on a daily basis.
So explain to me how you've slowed down the speed of your aging and how you measure that.
Yeah, so I guess intuitively we know this, that we see our friends. Some age quickly, some age slowly. You'll see it in the skin quality and the vibrancy. So,
do you feel like he's looking at you and going, what age are you? How old are you?
47.
47.
Goodness me.
Shall we make him guess our ages?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, if you were to look at us, how old do you think we might be?
So it's a really tricky question because you can be chronologically, I'm 47,
Yeah.
but biologically, I'm hundreds of different ages. My left ear is 64. I have hearing damage from shooting guns as a kid and listening to loud music. But my heart, is like in my mid-30s. My diaphragm is 18. So you can age all your different organs. And so you're a lot of different ages.
And one of the things that you measure is your rectum as well. Your rectal age is very young, right?
It is, exactly, yeah. And you also, we measure nighttime tumescence. So every night, males and females have nighttime sexual arousal. But it's not sexual in nature, it's just like a systems check. So there's all kinds of things people can do to check their biological age. And these markers are really important. They predict all-cause mortality, they predict all kinds of health. And so what we've done is we've taken science and measured biological age, and we've slowed my speed of aging. I'm now the slowest recorded with the best clinically validated clock out there. It's 0.50, which means for every 12 months that pass, I age 6 months.
Yeah. You see what he's managed to do as well is avoid trying to guess our age very cleverly.
I know, I saw that. That sidestepping, that little dance he just did, it was very good.
It does make, though, because you have a very strict routine. You're really, really committed to it. But it does take out a little bit of the spontaneity of life, Brian. Life is about living and experiencing and finding exciting little bits and pieces along the way. Do you miss that spontaneity of just being able to choose to do something or go somewhere because you have all these very rigorous sort of markers that you have to hit?
Yeah. Well, I will say I was in Sweden last week, and I did go to 2 raves.
Did you?
I did.
Did you really?
I love to dance.
Yeah.
And
I'd imagine
it won't do that ear any good.
but you know what? I had custom earplugs.
Ah, see?
So it was all
What about
carefully
it?
planned.
I measured the sound levels. I put my earplugs in, made sure it was safe.
Okay.
No, can you talk to me as well about your son and injecting? You've taken his plasma
Yes.
and you inject his plasma into you.
Yeah.
Why?
So the real story was my father, he's in his early 70s. He
Right.
started suffering cognitive decline. He called me into panic and said, I don't know what to do.
Right.
So at the time we were studying plasma infusions. I said, Dad, there's some evidence that this may help on Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. If you want to do this, I'm happy to help you.
Okay.
So it really was me helping my father. So my son heard about this. He's like, you know what, Dad, I know you're experimenting with all kinds of things. If so you want me to do it, I'm happy to do it as well. And so he said, why don't we just do a tri-generational exploration? But the press picked up that it was me getting it from my son.
see.
It was really about me and my father and trying to help him with his cognitive decline. And I'll note that he saw a reduction in his speed of aging by the equivalent of 25 years. So it dramatically improved his health.
Make a difference. We'll have viewers sitting at home watching this morning thinking, well, look, we don't have the resources to be able to do all the things that you're trying to do, but you are trying to share things people can do for free, think that you have experienced. What would you say would be the one thing that they could make a change to their life which would slow their aging or help in some way?
Yeah, the good news is I have something really practical that everybody can do that is really powerful. So before you go to bed tonight, lay down on the pillow, take a few deep breaths, calm yourself down, and then measure your resting heart rate. So put your fingers on the pulse,
Yep.
Measure your heart rate for 6 seconds, and then multiply that by 10. That's your baseline resting heart rate. Let's just say tonight it's 60 beats per minute. Your goal now is to get that as low as possible. And you're going to do that by eating earlier and lighter. We know what it feels like to eat a big meal right before bed. Your heart's pounding, you're hot, you can't go to sleep. So eating earlier in the day and lighter foods helps you lower your heart rate. Also having a wind down routine. So 60 minutes before bed, turn the screens off and you'll read a book, meditate, breath work, go for a walk, talk to a friend. But stress and rumination increase your heart rate. So what you'll find is everything that lowers your heart rate is good. Everything that increases your heart rate is bad. That is by far the most valuable thing anybody can do because it reveals diet and stress and habits, and it keeps you in check with all of the maybe not so good habits that happen in the later parts of the night.
Brian, it's so interesting because so much of what you say actually sounds so sensible and it's, you can completely understand why you're doing it. But do you ever think, oh my goodness, all the people that I love most in the world won't be around if I succeed in doing this? Do you ever think about that? And how do you feel about it?
Yeah. My parents they have turned their lives around. So I think that they see that the majority of their friends are really their health is declining in a significant way. And I think they felt a new, renewed sense of hope that they can do things that actually change their well-being.
Right.
And they didn't know these basic things like eating too close to bed is bad. They didn't know that these high levels of stress of being on the phone, of scrolling, increases your heart rate and lessens your sleep quality, which then lowers your willpower and all these things. So I really think that this is a new time to be human. We know the world is changing very quickly, and there's a new hope for being healthy. So I think there's a special time and place now for everybody to say yes to life and yes to health, these really basic daily self-care practices.
So they won't leave you. They'll be there growing.
I think they will be.
Yeah, they'll be with you. Brian, thank you for coming in. It's been
really
fascinating.
interesting. Thank you very much indeed. Remember, you should always consult a medical professional before undertaking any health and lifestyle change.
But the idea of trying to lower your resting heart rate, very simple. We'll give it a go.
Things, eating
Track
earlier.
Oh, see how it goes. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Now, 15 years ago, our next guest hit rock bottom and was struggling to find a way out. Today, she's a self-help superstar and the most listened to woman in the world.
She has more than 21 million followers on social media, A-list fans like Oprah, the Kardashians. Mel Robbins is one of this century's most influential voices.
But how exactly has she managed to not only help herself, but give people all around the world the tools to change their own lives for the better? Well, it all comes down to two very simple words. Let them.
Let them. Just let them.
You're just going to say let them.
Let them.
Let them. Let them.
When I say let them, I get a jolt of superiority. And this is why people get this tattooed on their bodies.
By far, just one of the best self-help books I've ever read.
This is what you can't control. This little guy right here, that's you.
I love what you said about being present.
It helps you feel the way that you want to feel.
I've spent my entire life being the fixer.
It is possible to be somebody that helps everybody else without losing who you are.
In life, there are always three things I can control. What you think, what you do or don't do, how you process your emotions. The more you let other people be themselves, the better your relationships become.
I hope you know just how meaningful you taking the time to be here. And I just want to say thank you so much. It's meant the world to me.
Wow, and the incredible Mel Robbins joins us now. Good morning, Mel.
Good morning.
Mel. Lovely to meet you.
We were just talking before and we were saying about where you came from and how you developed this idea and
Yes.
how you learned the hard way.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what it is about me, but I have to learn things the hard way. And all of the success that you see now, even watching that tape package, I'm like, who is that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's me. I think one of the reasons why I'm really connecting and resonating with people is this also happened later in life.
Yes.
So for those folks that don't know, when I was 41 years old, my husband's restaurant business started going under, and we, like complete morons, had secured the entire thing with our life savings, our house. And so we've got 3 kids under the age of 10. We find ourselves, in US dollars, it was $800,000 in debt. In pounds, it was $600,000 in debt. Liens hit the house. Like, we couldn't pay our bills. I had lost my job, and I found myself lying in bed every morning, unable to get out of bed, because I would just lay there and stare at the ceiling and think, I've completely ruined my life. And what happens in life is that I think there are people that are positively motivated, but if you're a normal human being, there comes a time where you get so sick of your own pain and excuses that pain makes you hit something solid inside yourself. And what happened for me is I just realized nobody's going to come and fix this situation. If I want things to get better, I have to figure out how to force myself out of this bed and start doing the little things every day that you know you need to do, but you don't feel like doing. And that's how all of this began. And it's been 16 years of simply putting one foot in front of the other and doing the next thing that I didn't feel like doing that has led to everything that you see now, whether it's the podcast or the books that I write or the impact that I make online with people.
Mel, what do you think the Mel that's lying 15 years ago in bed looking at the ceiling thinking, how are we going to get out of this, would make of the Mel that's sitting here now with all of this extraordinary...
I don't think that I could have ever even imagined something as extraordinary to happen. And here's the big message. I don't think you realize what you're capable of. And the mistake that you make is probably the same mistake I was making. You are waiting to feel ready. You are waiting to feel motivated. You're waiting to feel like you have it perfect. You're waiting for the right time. And I'm here to tell you, all of that waiting is what's ruining your life. Motivation is complete garbage. Complete and utter rubbish, as you would say, because it is never there when you need it. I mean, if motivation were easy, we'd all have $1 million and six-pack abs. We'd all be living our dream life. The secret to life, honest to goodness, is making yourself do the things you don't feel like doing. And it was during this time that I developed this little motivation hack that I call the 5-second rule. So in the States, I don't know if you have it here, but if you drop food on the floor and pick it up in 5 seconds, safe to eat.
It's fine.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, if you have an idea and you think about it for longer than 5 seconds, your mind contaminates your desire to do it.
Because you start talking yourself out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's all these fancy words for this that psychologists have, but I just like to speak about it in a way that anybody can understand.
Sure.
So the hack that I had was I just was inspired by this rocket launch, and I started counting backwards every morning. I'd be lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about all my problems, rotting away like a human pot roast. And then I would just start counting backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I would get out of bed. And I called this technique the 5-second rule. You got to move in 5 seconds or you will literally talk yourself out of it, as you said. And I use this little countdown thing, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to push myself every day through the anxiety, the depression, the excuses. Because the truth is, one of the beautiful things about life today is you could go to ChatGPT, if that's what I always say it wrong because of dyslexia. You could put in, I want to know how to do X, Y, Z. Tell me what to do 15 minutes a day for 30 days. It'll spit out the best plan. It'll work. The problem will be you. Because then you're going to be like, oh, is that going to work for me? And it's always you against you. And so that's how things began 16 years ago. I just wanted to get out of bed. I just wanted to get the kids on the bus. I just wanted to start paying my bills. I just wanted to stop screaming at my husband. And I think we all know what we need to do, but we're waiting to feel ready to do it. And that's the trap.
But I think also, Mel, what you do so brilliantly is you make it so simple and so bite-sized. You don't kind of cloud it with more kind of sophisticated words, and you don't make it difficult.
Life is difficult enough.
It's like when you talk about your phone. I made the switch last night. I put an alarm clock by my bed instead of the phone because the phone is a big thing.
Well, tell everybody what the thing is about.
So the phone, the minute the alarm goes off, you pick up the phone and then you start scrolling.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you're horizontal, and instantaneously, there are thousands of people in your room with you, telling you, feeding you information. The world's problems are on your shoulders.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, you've wasted another 20 minutes and you're then anxious.
Of course. Well, yeah, because if you start your day and you're like this, right? And then you reach for your phone. You're not even vertical, and you've let the headlines and texts and emails from work get into your brain. This is one of the reasons why you're last on your list. This is one of the reasons why you wake up behind and exhausted. And so the simplicity is important, because if it's not simple, you won't be able to do it.
Yes.
That's
what you
the
do
power
brilliantly.
of this let them theory.
Yeah.
It's so simple, anybody can use it.
Yeah.
Can you explain, because it's a fascinating, when you hear you talk about it as well, can you explain what you mean by let them?
Sure. So the let them theory is a mindset tool that shows you, like that, what's in your control and what's not in your control. And it's so simple to use. Literally any moment you feel stressed out, worried, annoyed, frustrated, upset, hurt in life, you just say, let them. That's it. That's it. You don't even need to buy the book. That's it. And
I'm not sure your publishers are thinking that.
Here's the thing. I want people to use it.
Yeah.
That's why I care so much about this, because we live in a moment in time where there is so much out of your control, whether you're worried about AI, or you're worried about the headlines, or you're worried about somebody in your life, or you're worried about your job, or you're stressed out about your kids. There is a better way to go through life, because all that stuff out there, yes, it's real. Yes, it's important, but it doesn't and shouldn't impact you in here to the extent that it does. And when you learn, as Viktor Frankl in Man's Search for Meaning, how to see what's out there as beyond your control, but take control by managing your response to it, you gain control of your life. You will never be able to control the amount of traffic and construction in London. Let them. Let them. You can't control how long the queue is in line. Let them.
Yeah.
You can't control the challenging people in your family. In fact, the reason why we have families is because it teaches us how to love people we hate at times. You got to let people be who they are and who they're not. Because the one thing in life you can't control is another person. What they think, what they do, what they believe, how they act. When they heal, if they ever heal, if they get to, let them be who they are. Because that's not where your power is. And that's why you're so stressed out, because you're managing everybody else. Let them be who they are. Let them say what they say. Let them think what they think. Now, let's take our power back. Let me is part 2. Let me remind myself there's 3 things in life I can control. I control what I think about this. I control what I do and don't do. I control how I respond to my feelings. And what this taught me is for the first 54 years of my life, I was living it in reverse. I was giving all my time and energy to managing everybody else. I put more weight into other people's opinions. I was navigating my day at work based on my boss's mood. There's an easier way. Let them. Stop managing everybody else and take the power back. And what you'll recognize is you have no idea how often you allow the world to stress you out. And that's why you're tired. That's why you have no energy. When you protect your time and energy from all this meaningless stuff and from things you can't control, you get your time and energy back. It's crazy simple.
It is simple, and hearing you say it is really compelling and very simple.
Brilliant.
Thrilled that you're sticking around, because you're going to be taking some phone calls from our viewers, aren't you?
Oh, great.
To offer them some
Great.
help as well, because I think that's going to be really pertinent.
Yeah, for sure. Mel's new book, The Let Them Theory, is out now. Thank you, Mel.
as I was
Look
saying,
forward to that.
thank
Thank
you
you for
for
visiting
sticking
our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning. He's come face to face with some terrifying creepy crawlies and braved even the most brutal of bush tucker trials.
But all of that paled in insignificance to the mammoth mission that our Sam put himself through last week, travelling 260 miles from London to Old Trafford to deliver this year's Soccer Aid match ball in time for kickoff.
He had to dig deep to push through what was the toughest challenge of his life, but push through he did, and we honestly couldn't be prouder of him. Here's a reminder of Sam's incredible achievement.
Let's go, Sam!
Guess who's joining you on your next peg?
No, you're not.
No, I'm actually not.
Look what you've done, Sam! I was absolutely fine for the first, 35, and then my car popped.
God, the rain's just coming in now. It's not quite the sunshine.
Oh my God!
You are remarkable. You have raised 900.
I'm really struggling today, man.
I've got nothing left.
£1,560,433.22 so far. Yes.
Oh, the conquering hero!
Well done, mate. Look, I've thrown my glass. I'm so excited.
It's making me. I've got to stop crying. It makes me so
You need to
emotional.
rehydrate just because of so much tears.
So many tears, man. I just want to say, actually, from the start, mate, thank you so much for all your support. It was every time I saw you, and I heard you, it was literally just, it was like, it made me so emotional. So I really, really, really appreciate it. And Ben, obviously, on day one, mate, you turning up, I just tore my calf at that point, and I was so down. Because I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I know that I've got so far ahead of me, and you have the strongest mentality. And Ben turns up and he's literally like, mate, one foot in front of the other. You're not completing this. And like, he just like, I needed someone who's not gonna mollycoddle me, and you were just the perfect guy for that. It was just, I'm so grateful.
So it was a really, I could tell how low you were, because all the planning, all the expectation, all the hope, and you'd had this injury. Day one, it just came out of nowhere that was significantly worse, as we found out through the week, than we thought initially, even then.
Yeah.
There was still a hope that actually it was maybe just a strain, but it was a proper tear. And it's just about breaking it down, isn't it, into small chunks. Don't think of it as a big journey.
It's the line, not the time.
Yeah.
That's what Ben kept
He
on
remembers,
saying.
he remembers.
But when you sort of talked about it, Sam, you trained for it, how had the reality of it, how does it compare, do you think?
It doesn't compare at all. It feels like a dream and a slight nightmare. But yeah, it's all the training, you don't really know what you're training for almost, because I'm just doing some running and some biking and we'll just see what happens. It's nothing like it. You've got the team surrounding you. We filmed a doc, by the way, which is coming out actually this Friday.
It'll be on a Friday.
And so you've got a van in front of you the entire time with a camera sticking out the boot of the van, filming all your highs and lows. You've got, people all around you, people beeping their horns at you. You can't really prepare for anything like that. And
it's quite overwhelming, isn't it?
It's really overwhelming, but in the most beautiful way. It brings so many people together. And I actually was just saying to Ben off air that you feel a bit flat afterwards almost, because you're like, you miss the entire team and you miss that bubble almost.
The connection.
Yeah, there's so much connection.
And I think that's the thing. It just moves people. Every time someone new turned up, from Ben to your brother-in-law to like P, when you guys got together, and then we had Orlando in the studio. He sent you that message, and then we had to call him makeup, didn't we, to dry all his tears, because he was like, he's such a good man. He's such a... I mean, to have that level of support must have been amazing.
This sounds so cringy, but I really do mean this. I think it shows the power of friendship. Because, and I honestly, wholeheartedly believe in this, that I'm quite like a glass person. Like I'm actually not the strongest person, as we've seen. But I'm the luckiest person to have the support network around me. I didn't complete this. Everyone around me completed it for me. Like everybody, like showing up from my family to my friends and stuff was the only thing that got me through it. And I'm really, really fortunate.
There was an amazing team on the road with you as well.
Yeah.
They were there all the step away. Like, a few of us drafted in and out, but there was an amazing team, wasn't there?
It was so great, man. Gary the physio was such a good guy.
He kept you together. You got Taylor the running coach. Tracy was on the bike with you.
Tracy is the most just empathetic but strong-willed person I think I've ever met. And then the UNICEF team as well, like remembering why you're doing it and like always reminding myself like who is out there and who we're trying to help, and the donations.
One of the things that we loved were all the surprises that you kept getting. So we've got a little surprise for you today.
Oh God, no more surprises.
Because she's come in to see you especially to celebrate.
Yes!
You did this on your...
No, you're going to cry again!
I'm so sorry.
Tracy, have a sit down, have a sit down. This is Tracy, who was every pedal step alongside Sam on the route. What was it like for you?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, what a guy to do a challenge with, you know? I mean, he just literally gave his all from start, oh, bless him, from start to finish. I mean, you couldn't ask for more from you.
No, Trace is a machine.
Yeah.
Do you know, there was a moment on Thursday where I didn't speak to Tracy for over an hour because I had gone really, really dark. And Trace just turns to me and goes, whatever you're channeling right now, keep doing it. I'm not going to speak to you for an hour. And we just put our head down we cycled together.
In silence.
In silence for over an hour, and I just burst into tears at the end of it and hugged Tracy, and it was just such a magical experience.
It really was, wasn't it? And it was so emotional because like every time that sort of like there was quiet, I thought, should I be worried because he's quiet? Obviously, sort of like concentration on the main road, and he just literally, I thought, no, he's got this.
You've got to chew the miles sometimes.
Yeah,
You've got to get them under your belt. But that second day, though, Tracy, have you ever cycled in rain like that?
Oh my God, it was apocalyptic. Like literally, I mean, you could not see. We were trying to talk. My lips were numb. You just stood there, and I thought, oh my God, could we actually get any worse? And it was awful. I mean, we had to stop because it was too dangerous.
It was too dangerous. That's the point. Even the weather was conspiring against you. Despite all of those things, you did it. Thank you, Tracy, for being there with him, lockstep, and keeping him going.
Yeah,
thank you to all the team, as you say, to Gary the physio, who somehow put you back together every day, Taylor, who was running with you.
Yeah.
It's just, we're so proud of you, Sam.
Thank you so much for everyone who donated as well. I mean, my God, every single time we got those donations sort of run through, it was just
another boost up, wasn't it?
It was such a boost.
To get through.
And it was just so beautiful. So thank you, anybody who donated. You literally are the heroes to the story.
And you can still keep donating
Yes, you can.
now. Donating to Sam's Matchball mission is simple.
Yeah, to give 20, 30 or £10, just text 30, 20 or 10 to 70822. Text costs you a donation plus your one standard rate message.
You must be 16 or over and please ask the bill payer's permission.
You can donate online. The websites are shown on screen. 100% of your donation will go to UNICEF. Every donation we doubled up to £5 million thanks to the Children's Investment Fund Foundation, which is amazing.
Soccer Aid for UNICEF 2025 airs live Sunday, the 15th of June, 6 p.m. on ITV1 and ITVX.
And you can see Sam's documentary, Sam Thompson's Matchball Mission, on Friday at 9 o'clock, ITV1 and ITVX.
Yes,
I had to tell him about it. I had to
Lots of
tell him about it. Good, so proud of you, mate. Well done.
I'm so grateful.
Hero.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Tracy, for all your...
Thank
Oh,
you
hello.
as
Right, thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
But before all of that, our next guest was once considered a pillar of his community, a police hero awarded for his bravery after risking his own life to save a drowning woman.
But PC Lorncastle's glistening career came to an abrupt end last month when he was permanently dismissed for gross misconduct over his handling of the detention of a 15-year-old in Bournemouth.
The former officer now says his life has been destroyed after police body cam footage of the incident captured him swearing at the boy and threatening physical harm.
So, was it a brutal abuse of police power or a terrified officer who took things too far? Lorne Castle joins us now. Morning, Lorne.
Good morning.
Coming in this morning. We really appreciate you having here to talk about this. It's something that, as you've described, has changed your life immeasurably. Take us back to that day of the incident when it happened. You were on duty. There'd been a gang attack in the area a few days previously, hadn't there?
Yes, so 2 days prior, there'd been a large incident where there's a gang attack using lots of weapons, knives, machetes. People went to hospital. And we were on an early shift starting at 7 till 6 that day. So we had a briefing in the morning that said, be aware of what's happened 2 days prior, and there are potentially some still outstanding suspects who may be carrying weapons.
So the atmosphere would have been quite febrile anyway, because there's a sense that you've got to try and find these suspects that were still out there. How did you come into contact with the suspect?
It was towards the end of our shift. The town cameras had radioed across the radio channel we get in our ear that there'd been an assault on an elderly male by an individual. They followed that individual for a while. That individual was then reported to be in some way, shape or form involved in another fracas where a 14-year-old had to be locked inside McDonald's for their own safety. And then the town cameras directed me towards that individual.
Right. And so where did you find him and what happened next?
So the individual was walking up a hill as we were on approach.
Yeah.
I decided to do a silent approach because it was stated that the individual had already made off from town rangers prior. Exited the car, and I think what you see is on the body cam from that point.
Did he try and get away?
My aim, which was initially successful, was to apprehend him before he had a chance to make that choice or not. I decided and believed that he may do, so that's why I went on a silent approach. My initial aim was to apprehend him against the wall so that it decreased his options for escape and also any attack potentially on me.
We're going to show the viewers the body cam footage, which can be quite shocking. So please be warned that it's very aggressive and there's some strong language in it as well. Before we do it, what's your take on what happened in that moment where you were trying to detain the suspect?
In all honesty, I went in with the best intentions of arresting a potentially violent individual with no injuries and getting them in. My aim was to restrain him against a wall. The individual attempted to duck away and get away, which can be seen in slow motion on it. The incident went to the ground, which is a very scary place to be when there is a crowd around, which there was. And from that point on is where I acted a bit panicked, out of fear, not my proudest moment, but it was out of self-preservation.
And Lorne, at this point, you didn't know he was 15 and he was masked as well?
At that point, it was just described as a masked individual. He'd been referred to as driving an e-scooter dangerously through town as well, and you have to be at least 16 to drive one of the e-scooters in town.
Okay. And there was any suggestion that he was carrying a weapon at all?
No, and that's a really good point. There was no suggestion. If there was a suggestion this individual had a weapon and was also violent, it would have been a much greater threat. So it would have been dealt with potentially by firearms, or I would have considered a taser option that I had, which is a distance one. But that's where the danger lies for every police officer, in the unknown. So you are trying to apprehend an unknown danger, so that's it.
Yeah.
OK, well, we're going to play the footage now. You may find this distressing, but this is the body cam footage of Lorne making this, detaining this suspect.
You're under arrest. You're under arrest. Get on the floor.
Get down on the
now.
floor. Get down on the floor.
Now. Get down. Shove your down.
What have I done?
Shove your now.
What have I done?
Right.
What have I done?
Where you are?
I've done nothing.
Put your behind your son.
I can't. I've done nothing.
Right.
I've done nothing.
Stop screaming like a...
Nothing.
Do you understand that?
What have I done?
Shut up.
Honestly, what have I done?
So the panel findings where you treated the suspect with disrespect. There is certainly a sense of the energy, and you can see the aggression with which you were taking down. How do you feel when you watch the footage?
Obviously, I feel disappointed in my language on there. However, I know in my heart of hearts, in my true mind, that there was no bad intention any way through, which is why I've continued to give my side. If I'd have paused, hesitated, or maybe given a moment for that individual to make a move, which, as you can see if you're watching in slow motion, he does actually break free from my colleague's hand. His hand goes down towards his belt at one point, which is where the knife fell from later on. I don't know what might have happened. And it was the unknown. My intention was use the minimum force to keep myself and everyone there safe.
The suspect didn't make a complaint, actually.
No.
The complaint was made by a colleague of yours. Why did they do that?
I can't speak for other colleagues, but I think maybe some police officers haven't been in maybe situations like that before, so it's shocking for them as well. And the role plays you do in training maybe aren't as real as they are on the street, on the hard concrete. If you look at it, I'm the one that realises every movement he's doing, rather than I realise when his hands comes free. I'm the one that shouts to the crowd, get back. I'm the one that radios for other people. And even when he's in cuffs, and it took 4 of us in the end to get him into cuffs. So he was restraining that hard when I was there. But even when other officers got there, it took 4 of us to get him in cuffs. So that shows the resistance I was against. I was still aware there was potential danger. I'm the one that saw where the knife came out. So I think the experience I've had, and also being in, unfortunately, similar situations prior, my risk assessment is different. But everyone does their own individual risk assessment, so I can't really comment for them.
In that moment, we can see you forcibly put your hand towards his face and his throat, and also you use that phrase, I'm going to smash you. These are the things, I mean, the words, if you said you're not proud of the words that you used, when you look at that footage, can you explain why you use your hands like that? And can you understand why you use those words?
Yeah, so in police training, we are taught to warn a suspect first before delivering any strikes, because it's a preventative tactic. We use the word strike, I use the word smash. It came out of panic and fear. Now, I can't really go into the schematics of the movements, but it wasn't deemed excessive for trying to hold him, to get him away. We turn the face away from us for many reasons in the police, and that's what one of the tactics I do. You can actually see I keep the triangle over the ear, which is what we're doing to keep the senses open. So in those panicking few seconds, I am actually trying my best to do the best for this individual. He's trying his best to get away or to discard his knife. I believe he knows he's got. I don't know at that point. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's trying to get away from. All I know is at that point, I've arrested him. My first words when I went in weren't obscene. You hear from the car, you're under arrest, not you're under arrest. So I didn't start off like that. I started off with the intention of quite a forceful, authoritative arrest, which I believe it needed because of the behaviour I had heard that he had exhibited before. I was told in an interview, you could have walked up to him and said, "Excuse me, sir, can we have a chat from the front?" I mean, the guy was wearing a balaclava, a mask. He'd been reported to have attacked 2 people. If I took him by an arm, we ran a campaign called One Punch Can Kill. We'd already reported to punch someone. I feared he might have at least lashed out at me. I didn't know he had a knife, no. But I've been bitten, I've been spat at, I've had my testicles grabbed, I've had a thumb tried to break when I've held someone. You don't have to have a weapon to be really dangerous. You just have to be unpredictable and have no limits. And I don't know who I'm approaching when they're masked up.
And it's also in that moment as well. But you've had 10 years with an exemplary record. You've won bravery awards.
I'm a good person. And you know, I go into every shift with the intention of doing the right thing from the first minute to the, well, usually I'm off late, and whoever's screwed with me is off late as well, was screwed with me, to do the best intentions. And that's why I knew, well, it doesn't matter, Lorne, you just keep telling the truth, because it's not going to be criminal. You had no bad intention. There was no excessive force. I was genuinely doing the best I could do, as with any job I've done so far. And that's why I think the outpouring of support from me is not only from people I've worked with, previous victims that I've helped, I run external sports clubs as well as a separate business interest, and I've taught for many years prior to the police. People who have actually helped in their life become a better person, and they appreciate that. And you know, I'm really thankful because now they're all in my corner. You know, they're all coming back to me, and I couldn't have got through without that.
This is what Dorset Police have said about your sacking. The independent panel found that PC Castle failed to act with self-control during the incident. He did not treat the 15-year-old with courtesy or respect. At times, our officers are required to use force to prevent offences and protect the public, their colleagues and themselves. PC Castle's actions were excessive, aggressive and inappropriate. PC Castle has let the police service and his colleagues down, and it's important to reiterate that he does not represent the staff of Dorset Police. Tackling unethical or unacceptable behaviour remains a force priority. The formal written outcome of the hearing will be published in due course. What do you make of that?
A bit disappointed. Even if I'd have done one thing wrong, after 10 years of exemplary service, it would have been nice for him to say, look, Officer Castle has been a great officer. However, on this occasion, you know, didn't meet the standards, however, and done it. Like, I've been a good guy, you know, and that I think is very cold. When it says excessive sort of courtesy and respect, I've taught children for a long time. I can't, in my heart of hearts, say in public, just to save my job, that you can mask yourself up, go out sort of attacking people and carry a knife, and at that point, when you're arrested, you're still resisting, you deserve respect. That's not. I'm not saying you don't deserve respect down the line, but you're making some wrong choices. And you know, you've got to look at those choices and think, well, can I make better choices?
We need to make a point that the suspect was not didn't do anything wrong, and he wasn't found of doing anything wrong, obviously, apart from the carrying of the knife, which we appreciate is a very serious thing in itself. I wonder how you feel about the releasing of the body cam footage, because that is quite stark, isn't it? You can admit to that.
Oh, 100% it is. And a lot of people, you know, that's why the police are here. We go out so that members of the general public, with any luck, do not have to see that sort of thing, do not have to face that sort of thing. But the outpouring I've had from police, that's not as uncommon as you would believe against a potentially violent resisting offender. So it is shocking that they've released it, and also it's just one view, one piece of evidence. You know, they didn't say there was a witness phoned in at the time to say deliberately, there's an officer on his own, I'm concerned for his safety, because there is a crowd yelling and gathering around him. You know, they didn't say what the suspect was, what the individual, what I had in my mind that he may have been proved, so may have been involved in. So they didn't really give my mindset. They just showed bang, bang. And I don't think that's fair. You know, I'm well known in the community, and people that don't know me, you can make a one-sided judgment. And that's why I'm here, and I really thank you for this, because I need to show people I'm not what they see in that 40 seconds.
What's this done to your life, do you think, Lorne?
You know, I'm still on a roller coaster because, you know, a year and a half ago this happened. So I've been on restricted duties, which for me is almost, you know, I don't know how to handle that. A little bit shameful. I had a ruling that said I'm not allowed face-to-face contact. I had to stay in like a separate office and work aside. I've never had, you know, I've been lucky enough never to have sort of mental health problems, but I tell you that I was so depressed. Even my children know it. They're saying to the mum, Dad's not Dad, why is he not happy? It's really hard to be happy. And then the hearing, it destroyed me. You know, they ripped me apart with allegations.
But you have got some public support through the GoFundMe group as well that's going on, particularly as knife crime is through the roof at the moment. So you must feel a sense of support from that. And
yeah, the tide turned. When the allegations were released on day one, press was really against me. But I think people saw through the actual heart of heart and the intention of me and saw I was a good officer doing what the public want. You know, I've had so many messages, go out there, Lorne. We want to empower the police to go out and tackle what we're scared of. And the messages of success, of support, have been really uplifting. And the GoFundMe set up by one of my former chief inspectors, who knows me from my first start, has made such a difference, because I've gotten a job, I'm unemployed. I use teaching sports, but using kids, that now is up in the air because of allegations. People don't know. You know, they see it in the press and think, oh, maybe there's something going on behind closed doors. Maybe he's not as nice as he seems. And if I put my CV out now, it's going to be trumped by everything on the national media. So that has really been a lifeline. I genuinely thank everybody for this. And that's why I'm here, because it's not only for me. This is for every officer that walks that thin blue line. Because you go to a job, you don't know what it is. It's an unknown risk. Anything from a shoplifter to a domestic, anything. You don't know what they're going to do. And it's either, it could be, am I going to get attacked or am I going to get a complaint? And you manage to balance that. And you think, phew, I didn't get either. You don't get any thanks.
No.
You go back, you've got to write it up quickly. Yeah, there's another job coming in, can you do that? You pack it away. All the trauma, all the nerves, you pack it away. After your shift, you go home. You might go maybe a couple of hours with your family.
Yeah.
You've got to put it away because your family want to see the real you, not the you that's thinking about what's happened.
No.
And then you bury it because it's yesterday. And then the next day it's an upload.
Yeah.
Well, look, Lorne, thank you for coming in and sharing your story. We do appreciate you
Spoke so eloquently.
being honest with us as well. We can see how distressing it has been, clearly. We'd love to know what you thought as well. Do get in touch. We're going to be discussing this a little bit later on with Giles and Camilla, aren't we?
Yeah.
In Morning View. Let us know what you think about the situation. We're going to take a short break. Thank you, Lorne. That was good to have you.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning. Someone who is at the centre of the case is Jason's daughter, Sarah Corbett Lynch, who features in the documentary and has also written a book about her experience. She joins us now. Thank you for being here, Sarah.
Oh, thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much. So you were 4 when your family moved from Ireland to the States with Molly and your dad. Yeah. What was that like for you? Because obviously that's a huge move.
Yeah, I mean, it was really exciting at the beginning. You know, moving to America, the weather was great, the houses were huge. And I remember running around my new bedroom really excited, and Molly and my dad hand in hand picking out furniture and pointing where they were going to put it. So at the beginning, it was like a new beginning.
And Molly was originally employed as the au pair, and then it developed into a romantic relationship between your dad and her. And initially, you had a very good relationship with her.
Yeah, I mean, she was the au pair, so, you know, she cooked us dinner and took us, you know, my dad would take us to school and she'd collect us. But most of my memories, because I was so young when we first became a unit as a family, you know, looking back on it now, it probably wasn't a healthy relationship.
How was she then as the mother figure to you and your brother?
Molly was very manipulative, and she would pit me and Jack against each other. Like, you can see it in the Netflix documentary. In the video, she says, "Oh, Sarah, you're 1 year, 2 years old," and then she starts making fun of Jack, and that's how young it started. And it went so far as, you know, if Jack did good in a swim meet, that he was the favourite child, and she would give him all the glory, and then I would be, you know, the little shrimp, as she used to call me, when I didn't do well in swimming.
I think one of the things that their lawyers have said about this, because you've talked about the fact it felt like she pitted the two of you against each other, is that those allegations don't sit necessarily with what you have said. You've described her lovingly in forensic interviews, and those were interviews that, when it came to the court case, were found to be truthful.
And yeah, those interviews are out there, but I lied in those interviews, and I'll always have to live with that. But Molly had gotten into in our ears at such a young age. Molly started telling me that my dad killed my birth mom when I was 6 years old. She told me my dad was a bad man. Molly also taught me that vomiting was okay, to keep myself skinny for swimming when I was 6, and that shoplifting was okay. So I believe that Molly had a very troubling relationship with the truth, and that was also put into evidence and in courtrooms.
Were you aware when you were so young that the relationship was starting to disintegrate? Were you aware of that? What was it like in the house?
It was always tense, but it was our normal. Right. You know, I didn't know that having a ball of anxiety was not normal for a 7-year-old and 8-year-old. My dad was always extremely loving to me and Jack, and he did try his best with Molly, bringing her flowers home, and, you know, it was really difficult to keep Molly happy, and if you didn't, you knew about it. And it wasn't until I moved back to Ireland with my aunt and uncle, who I now call my parents, Tracy and David, that that I realised what a normal family unit looks like. Because I was so young, it was just what I thought was normal.
Just what you'd grown up with.
Yeah.
To take us back to the night when you tragically lost your dad, what do you remember?
I remember everything from that night. I remember being woken up by a police officer, Corporal Clay Dagenhart. And he introduced himself, and he was quite nice. And he told me that I had two options, that I could walk down the stairs backwards with my eyes closed, or he could carry me down the stairs with my eyes closed. And I wasn't feeling very well that night, so I asked him to carry me down the stairs. And I remember he lifted me into his arms, and we went out to the landing, and it was like there was dozens of people inside the house. There was fuzzing from police officers, walkie-talkies and boots, and people talking. And as he carried me down the stairs, he covered my face with his hand and put my head in the nape of his neck. And we got up to near the bottom of the stairs, and it just went completely silent. And that stayed that way until we got to the basement stairs.
So you were 8 years old at this time. The reason he was doing that was because the scene of what had happened to your father was
at the bottom
so
of the stairs, yeah.
extraordinary and violent that he just didn't want you to see any of that, not even a glimpse of it.
Yeah, and I'm extremely lucky for the fact that he did that. And he was, I couldn't have asked for a better officer to have been there with me that night.
Then after the event, you were called in, and both you and your brother Jack had to give separate interviews together. What did they ask you, and what did they say? What did you say?
So we were first interviewed in Bobby Martin's house, and the Martins were warned that we would have this interview, which they're not meant to be. So me and Jack were sat down by the Martins, and Molly told us that we had to say that Dad was a bad man, and that he hit her, and that if we didn't say those things, that we would be separated and that we'd never see each other again. So we were really scared, and we lied. I told social workers that Molly told me that my dad hit her, and Molly told me that my dad was a bad man. And
so you essentially, in that interview as 8-year-olds, and you and your brother, you backed up what Molly had said to the police as well.
Yes.
But
then only about 3 weeks later, when we got back to Ireland, we recanted those statements.
In regards to that response from her lawyers, basically the legal court came up to the conclusion that the night that your father died, Molly had acted in response to threat, coercion, provocation and duress from Jason Corbett. The reasons the court sentenced her in a mitigated range for voluntary manslaughter, which is what she ended up going to prison for eventually.
And they were originally charged with second-degree murder, but those charges were changed to voluntary manslaughter for Molly.
So, I mean, you and Jack have to live with the fact that, I mean, you were such a young age as well, but you made comments in those interviews that eventually got brought up in the second court case that led to a change in their sentencing.
Yeah, and we have to live with the fact that, you know, words that we said are part of the reason why the Martins are walking free today. And I suppose that's why I wrote A Time for Truth, because it gave me a chance to just be completely honest about everything and put it in a book and let people read it. And, you know, we didn't have a voice. I wasn't allowed to give evidence. I wasn't allowed to be a character witness. I was under a gag order, so I couldn't even talk to my friends or my family or media about.
So how hard was that as well? Because this case was going all around the world. Of course, it happened in America, but your family from Ireland, and I imagine you're on all the newspapers and you've got to go to school, but you can't, as you say, you can't talk about it.
Yeah, and it was extremely difficult because you can't defame the dead. So the Martins could say anything about my dad. And I guess that's why there's so much out there about my dad's character that isn't true. And it made it very difficult for my family to sit in courtrooms and hear this completely fabricated narrative about my dad's personality, because you can't change that. You can't defame the dead. And, you know, the Martins brought my birth mom into it and my grandfather into it, and all of those people that I loved have passed away since. And I just think that really shows the character of the people that the Martins are.
What was that like for you and your brother? Because then you moved back to Ireland and you get taken in by your aunt.
Yeah.
That must have been just absolutely awful for you guys.
It was probably the best thing that happened to me.
Because
I was put into a safe family environment, and I was extremely lucky. Tracy and David took us in like we were their own kids. They have never treated us differently. They have 2 of their own sons who I now call my brothers. You know, and another thing was that they never said a bad thing about the Martins. You know, they listened to us say that we missed Molly and that we loved Molly, because we did love Molly. And it wasn't until I think about 2 or 3 years ago that I was having an absolute meltdown, and I was begging Tracy to say something negative about Molly, and she said, "I don't like that woman, she killed my brother." And that was it. And they gave us the opportunity to make up our own minds, to decide what we felt towards the Martins, and I will always be grateful for that, because I suppose why I'm sitting here today is because I was able to make up my own opinion.
You didn't, Sarah, get the chance to give evidence, but when they had the retrial, you and your brother were able to read out victim impact statements.
Yeah.
So you were able to explain how this had impacted on you. What was it like for you and Jack to come face to face with them again? Because you hadn't had any contact, had you, since you'd left America?
Other than Molly trying to fly planes over our school and going on social media, and she tried to contact friends of mine that I sat next to in school, which made it very difficult to make friends. But we had never gotten contact with her. But I think it was more so for me, I felt like I wasn't afraid of them anymore. They had taken up so much space in my life, and I didn't want to give them the power over me anymore. And it was very difficult to read the victim impact statement. There was a lot of emotion, but I think it finally gave me a chance to say something in a courtroom.
Yeah, which is one of the things that you've actually done with the book too. Yeah. It must help you cope with the entire situation.
The book, the only way I can describe it is I've cried a lot less since I wrote the book, because I took all of my childhood trauma and everything bad that happened to me and put it into one funnel and looked at it. And it made me realize that, you know, this is happening to people all over the world, and that's really important, that, you know, people who are going through similar situations or really difficult situations know that, you know, you can get help. You can find someone that will listen to you, and it will be okay. You know, you will be able to find the light at the end of the tunnel and have a normal life. I will always live with my trauma, and I will always have this next to me, but I mean, everybody has good and bad days, whether they've been through traumatic experiences or not. Do you know, and I think the book has helped me realise that.
Extraordinary amount of strength involved.
Yes, absolutely.
Just what you've said there, Sarah. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And sharing a bit of your story.
Sarah's new book, A Time for Truth, is
hello.
out now.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. Well, look, Danny joins us now alongside Dr. Zoe to share her experience of the perimenopause. Thank you, Danny, for coming in.
Morning.
Firstly, thank you for being so honest. I mean, I'd imagine that took some of your TikTok followers by surprise when you're suddenly telling them all those extraordinary things.
Yeah, I just wanted to be open about it because obviously I am on the younger side of it. And even though I think it's rare, I don't think it's that uncommon, especially looking through my comments. And so I just wanted to be quite open about it because actually I had quite a good experience with my GP. So I just wanted to make people aware that, you know, going to the GP can really, really help because I was just having such awful symptoms and I needed help with it.
I think what happens as well with it quite often is the symptoms kind of creep up on you and it's other people that actually notice them first of all. I think your husband, Simon, was the first person that was like, are you okay?
Yeah, I was literally like a different person. And to be honest, it was not long after I'd just had my son.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really sure if it was just a case of like the baby blues.
Hormones?
Yeah, and hormones for sure. But I was honestly like a different person. It was almost like I was watching myself in a kind of weird way. I'd always suffered with depression and anxiety, but this was like on a completely different level. The mood swings were just out of control.
Sometimes, as Kat was saying, it's easy to see from afar.
Yeah.
But I'd understand for your partner.
My poor partner.
Yeah. That's a sensitive thing to bring up, especially when you are so young, to suggest, Danny, do you think you might be perimenopausal? How did that go down?
Do you know what? It went down all right. My partner is really quite tactful and it was fine. And he was a bit like, you're being a little bit agitated by my breathing. Is everything all right? And, it really wasn't like me. I am normally quite laid back.
Yeah.
You'll probably disagree sometimes. But yeah, I'm normally quite a chilled person. And, my sleep was all over the place. I'm normally a good 10-hour kind of gal. And, that was kind of, and the hot sweats, they are absolutely rank.
And
they really are. That was
She's
not
telling
pleasant.
it like it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's not great.
And it's affected like all different aspects of your life, like mentally, work. How's it affecting that?
The brain fog when you're an actor is really not ideal. The worst, I think, was doing panto, and I was playing the fairy, and you're on your own as a fairy doing monologues and going completely blank on stage and having to ask your MD for your lines is not ideal.
No.
But luckily, you can kind of shrug it off.
The lovely
a
thing
little
about
bit.
panto, you can make the most of a moment
Yeah,
like that, can't
exactly.
you?
And telling an entire audience, sorry, going through menopause. Everybody, apologies.
I bet there was a lot of sympathy in the audience for you as well.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that Danny, you're known for, and you talked about in your TikTok there, is your hair.
Yeah.
And actually the impact that can have, because yes, a bit of, but it's very much who you are. Your hair has always been big and lush and powerful part of who you are.
Yeah, I think this is what I'm struggling with the most, because for me, my hair's my identity. It's kind of what I'm almost known for. So to be losing it is, I'm not a vain person at all.
Gosh, look at the clumps that are coming out.
Yeah, this was yesterday. And it improved as well. Like, I'm taking supplements and gummies and I'm oiling my hair, and it improved. It was almost sort of double the amount, a month ago. And it's thinning, and I'm having bald patches, and it's starting to affect my self-esteem. I come across very confident, but kind of behind closed doors, it is definitely taking its toll for sure.
So, Dr. Zoe, how easy is it for women who are identifying with exactly what Danny is saying to go to their GP and get some help?
I think the key thing is you must go to your GP and ask for help. And people often say, at which point do you go?
Yeah.
At any point, really.
Okay.
If you're having a set of symptoms that you think could be perimenopause, go and see your GP, go and see a practice nurse. Sometimes it's a good idea to ask the receptionist, is there a GP or a nurse that specialises in menopause? And I think, I know you hear all these horror stories of people having terrible experiences with GPs, and I can't personally vouch for everybody that does my job, but it has moved on. In the same way we've all become much more aware and educated about menopause, healthcare professionals have too. Every week in my inbox there's a training course on menopause. So in my opinion, GPs don't really have an excuse anymore to not be sensitive and not be treating this. I think the key thing is, my advice is, make a list of your symptoms. There are apps, there are downloadable lists, so you can log your symptoms beforehand. Go in there and say, I want to share my symptoms. I think it could be menopause. If you're interested in HRT, say, I'd like to explore my options, including HRT. Now, your GP may not prescribe HRT on that first appointment because often we need to rule other things out. Symptoms of menopause can overlap with just about anything, because there's over 100 symptoms of menopause, perimenopause. So they might want to check your thyroid function, they might want to check you're not anemic. But they should offer you a follow-up. And usually, in most cases, if everything else has been ruled out and it's highly suspicious that this could be perimenopause and those symptoms are really affecting you, then unless there's a contraindication, such as you've previously had breast cancer, a 3-month trial of HRT is usually not going to do any significant harm. Make sure you know the pros and cons, weigh up the risks and benefits. But for most people who have symptoms, the benefits outweigh the risks.
And that's been great for you as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. I feel a lot better, and I feel like myself again. Obviously I still get moody, don't get me wrong, and I'm still a bit sweaty every now and again, but it's like
I do all of those things, and I don't have
all
an excuse just yet, but
it's like night and day, it really is.
Yeah.
Well, look, thank you for coming in and talking about it.
No, thank you for having me.
It's a hugely important subject, isn't it? Of course.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully those symptoms continue to improve as well for you.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
introduce you to two very special guests now. So this is Zebby, who is the UK's only competing zebra.
And this is Timothy Twinkletoes, who is apparently light and quick on his feet. There he
He's
goes.
gorgeous. Well, Zebby and Timothy Twinkletoes are hobby horses, which is actually a sport that sees riders perform things like dressage and show jumping without ever mounting a real horse.
And we're going to give it a go in just a moment, and we've got the perfect teacher to help us. 15-year-old Maisie Scadden and her horse, Poppy, have been chosen to join Team GB at the World Hobby Horse Championships. Maisie's here today alongside her mum, Molly. How are you? Okay?
Welcome to the show. And what's your horse called?
This is Poppy.
This is Poppy. So Poppy, Zebby and Timothy.
Timothy, yeah.
Lovely. So, Maisie, how did you get into doing this?
Well, about a year ago, I saw a lot of people on TikTok doing it. So I made my own one and I thought I'd give it a go.
So did you get into that, you know, when you're watching on social media and you're watching people doing hobby and you're thinking, why am I watching them do the hobby when I can do it myself?
Yeah, because there are a lot of shows across the UK, so I've been to those and I've competed at all of those. So that's been really
people
fun.
take it very seriously, don't they? And
yeah.
Does it keep you quite fit as well?
Yes, definitely, because you're not just sat down all day.
Oh, lovely.
I've seen, because you just have an idea what you think it'll be in your head. When you see the videos, I mean, it is really hard going.
Yeah, some of the competitors in the finish classes jump 1.40 meters. Yeah.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? How high can you now jump, Maisie?
I have jumped a metre, but I usually only jump 70 to 80.
Which is actually quite high. We've actually got that out on the studio floor. That's 70. So you can actually easily jump that?
Yeah.
Can we ask you to demonstrate it for
us?
Yeah. All right, go for it. Molly?
Do you know what I love about this young person? Doesn't even need warm-up.
Oh,
I'd have to stretch my hamstrings out for 10 minutes before I did this.
I can't get over it.
Well, I tried to do it beforehand and I couldn't do it. Look, are you going to do a canter or are you going to do a trot? You're going to do a canter.
Here we go.
OK, here we go.
Get over!
Do you know what? Maisie, you jumped that at ease, actually.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
That could go higher.
Look, she's still tropping.
And you've been chosen to represent the UK as well. What was that moment like? Did you get a letter or a phone call?
We got an email.
Oh, very modern.
Molly, tell us, as Maisie's mummy, what have you noticed about Maisie doing this sport?
Maisie is quite a shy child and she struggles a little bit with school. She finds that academic work challenging. So it's been lovely to see her really blossom and excel at the hobby horsing. It's something she can do well at. And she's met so many lovely friends. It's a really supportive community. Everybody cheers each other on.
So lovely.
Yeah.
You know what I love about that? Like, you know, young people, and they can get a little bit of a bad rap sometimes these days, but, you know, getting together, doing something, it's fun, it's energetic, and, you know, and they're all like-minded. I'm all for it.
Yeah, and even Maisie's granddad's had a go and he won a rosette at a show and beat some of the children.
We came fifth in a pairs class together.
Oh, really? How old's your granddad?
I think he's 76.
Oh, lovely. What's his name? Is he watching now?
He is watching now. He's Grandad Dennis.
It's all right, Dennis. Hello there.
Grandad Dennis.
We're going to give it a try as well, Grandad.
Yes,
we are.
Yeah. What's involved in a competition then?
Well, there's lots of different disciplines you can do. I've done show jumping, dressage, barrel racing and mounted games. So there's lots for everyone to do.
Right, okay.
And there's also a Grand National class at some of the shows.
And Molly, there's loads of rules, isn't there? Like, you have to stick to the rules because they will disqualify you, won't
they? The rules in Finland are extremely strict. So if you take the stick out from between your legs, it's classed as falling off and you are disqualified. You have to have both hands on the reins and one hand on the stick at all times. You're not allowed to run. You have to have a cantering action or you lose marks.
So do you get a little bit nervous at the thought of even going to Finland?
Yeah, but I am really excited to be able to go. And I've got a lot of friends going. The 14th of June.
Oh, my
Amazing.
goodness.
Yeah. Do you want to talk me through what? Get it back out here, that limbo thing.
Are you going to have a go?
I'm on it. Yeah,
all right, get involved. Come on then.
Here we go.
Well, you want to go for the 70...
these ones? I want to go for the big one.
You want the 70 centimetres,
Yeah.
Paddy?
Yeah.
He wants the 70 centimetres. We actually packed it away, Paddy, but we'll go and get it back out for you. You have won so many rosettes as well, haven't you?
Yeah, about 40.
40 rosettes?
Yes.
Oh, you must be so proud, Molly.
Yeah, I am. It's really lovely to watch Maisie and all her friends competing.
Oh, amazing. Well, Maisie, you've done a little course for us, haven't you?
Yeah.
You show us what you want us, me and Paddy, to do.
Yep.
Go on then, off you go. So we've got... The only thing is, Maisie, I haven't worn trousers today. Is it better when you wear trousers?
Probably.
Oh, gosh.
Go on, Maisie, show us how it's done.
Paddy. So are we running that fast,
Oh,
Maisie?
boy. Whoa. Whoa, Timothy.
Can I not trot, Maisie?
You get eliminated
I was
in
thinking
Finland.
more of a trot.
Here we go.
Oh, lovely, Paddy.
Lovely work. Can I just check, are we still on the telly? This is
We
going
are.
out to the nation. Good, I like this.
Are you judging this, Maisie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, lovely canter. Oh. Whoa there. Whoa. Yes. Elegance, poise, over.
Okay, let's get the judging. Come on. All right, Maisie. What do you think? If one of us had to win a rosette, is it Zebby or is it Timothy?
I think Zebby might have won.
Yes. I think Alison had better rhythm and style. That would have impressed the judges.
See?
Excuse me, I was born with the rhythm. Right, all right. Here we go.
Oh, no, be careful, Paddy.
What you worry about
Oh,
that?
he's going for the second.
I'm not having... Nobody puts Timothy in the corner.
Have you got any tips for Paddy before he does it?
Jump with your legs to the side.
Legs at the side. Okay.
Here we go. Have we got the ambulance ready?
Legs at the side.
Oh, well done, Paddy. Oh. Oh.
Hello. Coming back.
Beautiful, Paddy.
Very impressive.
That was quite good. I mean, you probably brought that back. You deserve a rosette. If there was anybody watching now, Maisie, how do they get involved in hobby horsing?
So you can look up, there's a lot of Facebook groups online with different hobby horsing shows. I've been to a lot of UK Hobby Horse Association and Hobby Horse Adventures, and I really enjoy both of those companies that run them.
And obviously you're at the top of your game now, so
Yeah.
what's next? Surely the Olympics, right?
Well, I do think it'd be really cool to compete in the Olympics if it ever did become a thing, having hobby horsing there.
Oh, so good, wasn't it?
I love all the little extras put on the
I know,
on
it's
the
so
edge.
nice.
Lovely,
My friend
yeah.
made those for me that's watching.
Yeah,
they are.
Bridal
So
charms
cute.
are very
Look at those.
important.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us, Maisie and Molly.
That's okay,
and
thank
good
you.
luck at the championships.
Thank you.
We hope you win. We hope
Thank
you win.
you so much.
You'll do brilliant.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
Households across the country have gadgets that are powered by lithium-ion batteries. They're everywhere, right? You're just used to them being around the place. They're found in so many electrical devices, laptops and tablets and mobile phones, kind of everything.
Yeah,
it
no,
seems.
it's something that we probably don't actually think about, right? But in the last 2 years alone, there has been an increase, a 93% increase in lithium-ion batteries fires in the UK. And last month, Emma and John Logan's family were left homeless after a battery in their karaoke machine overheated, causing the machine to explode.
This is terrifying because I think we're all vulnerable to this. With us now, and Luke Osborne, the technical director for the charity Electrical Safety First, is here as well to advise everyone at home. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, guys.
Oh my word, you have been through the absolute horrors. I feel terrible asking you to recount the whole story, but it's as a word of warning to the folks at home. So tell us what happened. You bought this karaoke machine. What happened then?
Literally had a phone call at work to say that the house was on fire, and that's where it all started. It's very surreal, still is surreal, but just a small battery to cause so much devastation.
So it's honestly what I'm sure you would think is the unthinkable until it happens to you, right? Receiving a phone call like that, you're at work, your house is on fire.
Yeah.
Thankfully, none of you were
at home.
Which is kind of another also weird sort of sliding doors moment. You think, if I didn't go to work that day, and of course you end up thinking the worst. But let's talk about the karaoke machine itself. It was a present for your daughters, is that right?
We brought it in for Christmas.
And how often was the machine used?
When we first brought it, we used it all the time, and then the Christmas just gone, we upgraded and brought like a
adult kind of version of it. So that it kind of just got put away under my daughter's bed. And
Right, so the machine itself isn't the one that you were actually using. It was a machine that was actually
just stored
hidden away because you wasn't using it.
Yeah, no, it's just under my daughter's bed, stored away.
So you've just done what we all do. You're not
Yeah.
using it under a bed in
Yeah.
the attic,
Well, you don't
stashed
think
away.
about it.
Yeah.
How
It's not
long
on.
had it been
No.
there?
Since November, the beginning of November, it was last used.
Kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the cause of the fire. How do you know that? What do they say? What's the fire service say?
They found the battery and said it had gone through thermal runaway, which is when it starts to catch fire.
So basically, got too hot and. Oof.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think what is quite an interesting thing to me when I read this morning is that when these things happen, and this might be a really naive way of thinking, I would assume it's because it's plugged in or, it's active, as it were. But this is something that is stored away and the battery itself is kind of doing overtime without you knowing.
Yeah.
Is this? I'd like to bring you in at this point, Luke. Is this something, Luke, that you see a lot? Is this because to me this sounds like such a sort of freak, something that you would call a freak accident or a freak situation? Is this something that you're seeing a lot?
Fires from lithium-ion batteries are becoming increasingly more common. Less so with this sort of device. More so, we're seeing a lot of instances with e-bikes and e-scooters, and they have a huge amount of energy equivalent to the TNT and 6 hand grenades when those things go up. But like you say, it's becoming more and more in everyone's lives. But they're enabling technologies, lithium-ion batteries. So we are seeing an increase in these instances, but less so in the smaller toys, for example. But raises a concern.
It's terrifying because it is a small item, the battery, and I take it hadn't even been charged, sitting there for so long. So look. Hate to do this to you, but just to paint the picture of what you came home to. So you're at work, you get the phone call. I guess John called you, let's get home quick as possible. Describe the scene when you arrived back at your house.
I arrived back first. There was like 4 fire engines. They were trying to get in through my front door. And I was like, I've got a key. But my key wouldn't work because they'd obviously been bashing it. So they ended up cutting a big hole in my front door to get in. There was all flames coming out of my roof and the first thing was like, my dogs are in there, get my dogs out. But luckily they were in the kitchen because they get locked in the kitchen when we go out. So they managed to get around the back and get the dogs out. So
You did lose one pet though.
Yeah.
Which I know your kids are heartbroken about.
Yeah.
God, a little rabbit. Oh, it's so tough on them. I mean, look, could have been so much worse.
No, it would have. Yeah.
The other thing you can't replace, I guess, are photographs, family mementos, those kind of things. Did you lose a lot of that stuff?
Because it was my daughter's bedroom, she lost everything of hers, but around the outside was all our loft space. So that was our memories from everything, really, and everything was gone.
And we can see those images there, and it is absolutely devastating. And I suppose, for me, what really sort of hits home as a mother, as a parent, is that feeling, and I can only imagine of how that felt, knowing that that was under your daughter's bed.
Yeah.
And knowing now after the fact that that could have looked very, very different. And I suppose when you...
100%,
It must just feel like it's almost otherworldly, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank God we were all out.
Absolutely that. And
you know what we've done, though? The nation now is terrified, and people at home, Luke, are looking through their house for every single battery they have. So, first of all, they have to be careful. Can you give advice to people at home who are currently going, what have I got? What's under the beds? What's in the attic?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like we mentioned there, everything we've got at the moment, most of your devices and most of the batteries within them will be inherently sound. But we urge people, I mean, safety starts where you shop. You've got to make sure that you buy from a reputable retailer or a reputable manufacturer, people that you trust. We do find issues with problems being sold by third-party retailers through online marketplaces.
OK, I'm actually going to stop you. Do most batteries have a safety device in there that stops this happening? Is that what you're saying?
Most devices, the charger and the battery combination will make sure that it shouldn't overcharge. So we would always advise people to make sure they use the original charger that comes with the device.
Or the charger from the brand rather than
exactly.
external company.
Consult the manufacturer. If you lose or you damage your charger, make sure that you've got the right device.
But John and Emma's wasn't even plugged in. This is
I know.
scary. So talk us through that.
Throws me.
if a battery becomes damaged, it's possible that it could have become damaged. It could have been a manufacturing defect that was in there. But if someone notices that their battery is swelling, so it's deformed, or if there's signs of scorch marks on the device, stop using it. If people start to notice what looks like white smoke coming out of anything, it's too late. Get that device out of your property at that point. There's very little you'll be able to do to combat that.
Sorry, do you get the device out or do you get out? Because if it's an explosion.
Yeah. I meant, I meant get yourself out of the property.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just want to go back to you both, John and Emma. I'm so pleased that we're sat here and having this conversation and we're talking after the fact. And then, it could have been a lot worse. Of course, this is torn, your world upside down and inside out. How are you? How are you? Because obviously we can think about it could have been worse, but this is a real toll on you both. Where are you living now and how are you both doing?
We're currently at my mum's now. Mm-hmm. So at my mum's there's like the 6 of us, my mum, my dad, 3 dogs. So it's in a 3-bedroom house.
It's cosy.
Yeah, it's cosy. It's
very tired.
Very tired.
Yeah, I bet.
How's the kids?
We try to keep it as normal as we can. They're still going to school. It's a school holiday at the moment, so that's difficult because we haven't been able to take them away anywhere. Because
you're trying to get the money together to fix your house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you covered by insurance with a fire like this?
No.
Really?
Unfortunately, I was 3 months out of my insurance lapse, and I didn't. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A word of advice to everyone at home again. Should they be scouring their products today and making sure everything's okay? Should they be leaving things in a safe zone out in a shed? What should people be doing?
Just have a cursory check of your devices. Make sure you don't charge them overnight where possible. If you are going to be charging devices, make sure that they're not in a place that's going to stop you exiting the building. So particularly e-bikes and e-scooters in hallways and things like that. Do check for the signs I mentioned earlier, the swelling or any kind of scorch marks. Most of your devices will be safe, but do be careful. And always use trusted and reputable retailers.
Thank you very much. And I know this isn't easy, so thank you for sitting here and talking about this. And we wish you all the best of luck. And I'm so thankful for you both that you're sat here to tell us your story.
You've helped a lot of people today, all 3 of you. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
With us now, still together, incredibly.
This is what we like to see.
Oh my word! Do you know what I love about the show and you guys on it? When people are travelling, they send the Instagram photographs and beaches, but actually the reality of travel, when you're really travelling, a lot of it's really hard work, isn't it?
Oh, 100%, yeah. Travelling in this way, it's very unique, but it's so hard, and we really just felt that. It was a lot of pressure. Just having the race kind of in your mind all the time, but also trying to enjoy it as well. So
it's a new experience. The furthest we've been is we've never gone outside Europe really. So obviously to go to a place like China and experience that, it was a lot to take in. Obviously with no phone, it was a challenge, which I didn't think we could have done, but after doing it, I'm very proud of us.
And what made you sign up for the show? Because this is the challenge of a lifetime, and like you say, this was like your first proper trip together, and they say this. It could be a make or break scenario for a young couple because you're literally isolated. You're together. There's no rest. You've got that pressure of knowing it's a race, no contact, no budget. What was appealing at the time?
I know. That's what we were saying the whole time, is it will make or break us, but it was kind of like a reason to do it, to see if we can get through it. It was more my mum's idea initially. She thought it'd be good for me to try and apply with my brother, but I thought there'd be more benefits in doing it with Finn, to be honest. We wanted to travel, we wanted to experience new things, and obviously doing it at this age as well, it's just like we've just started off, so...
I bet you regret that now, though.
Absolutely not.
Couldn't make a decision, could I? What to do.
How old are you again? Remind us.
So we're now 20 and 19, but at the time we were 18.
I mean, it is young to go off on a challenge. It's so brilliant and so brave of you. And of course, the big challenge there is the budget, right? So just remind everyone at home, you don't have lashings of cash.
No, it was the lowest budget of all Race Across the World. It was the lowest it's ever been.
£1,140 each to last us the whole time. That's travel, food, accommodation, experiences, everything included in that budget. So,
And I can't budget, I'll be honest.
well, for people who haven't really needed to budget because we've just got our
Yeah.
parents to do it, it's something
Because
really
you're a
new.
19-year-old boy.
Exactly.
How do you prepare for something like that in terms, I suppose, all of it, mentally, missing home, budgeting? Like, how do you prepare to take on a challenge like this?
I don't think you can prepare. I think what we did was just more fitness-based.
Right.
You're holding the bag, you need to get from places. It's a lot of walking and carrying a bag, but obviously we didn't know where we were going, so you can't really learn a new language, although I actually did start learning. I'd learnt Mandarin for one lesson and I couldn't do it. I just stopped. So I wish I kept
Should have
with
stuck to it now, yeah.
She was learning Spanish.
I wouldn't have thought
but-
you'd be fluent after one
Exactly.
lesson.
Yeah, exactly. But you were learning Spanish, wouldn't have helped. But
Yeah, you're not getting a Duolingo record.
No, absolutely not.
should have stuck to it.
Talk to us about, because when we watch at home, we get the map of where everyone is and trying to get to the next
Yes.
checkpoint. You're not aware of where anyone else is. What's the stress of the actual race?
The unknown.
It's
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
It was a lot of stress for you because she's just plans. So she was trying to plan their routes and where they
Right.
were. So you
Second
spent
guess them.
she spent her head in a notebook trying to figure out where they were, what they were doing, which you just can't do.
It's so stressful because you're trying to just focus on yourself, but you're also kind of thinking about where everyone else is, and you have no idea. So the thought of like falling behind, and that really stressed me out. I'm so competitive,
Yeah.
and I just couldn't give it a rest.
If one thing goes wrong for us, all you can think about is, the other teams are ahead now.
Yeah.
They've probably already arrived. So it was hard to balance it.
It's so
definitely.
unpredictable. Things
Yeah.
go wrong for everyone, but we just don't realise that.
Yeah, of course, and you don't know, and like you say, it's not knowing if someone's, close to you there. You've got to look
Exactly.
over your shoulder. You can't. It's not just going away and travelling, and it's a bit of a rest, and you're exploring. That race element is very, very present, isn't it? How travelling under pressure can be quite the test on a relationship. I could only imagine. I mean, I'm sure my husband would be absolutely sick of me in this scenario.
I mean, he's glad when he gets through airport security with you, isn't he?
He is. That's always a tick. Do you think it's made you stronger? Because it is a real challenge. Of course, the challenge itself, but you guys completing that, and you're here, you're together, you're on the sofa.
Yeah, we have definitely come back stronger. I think it's the bond ultimately. Like, we've done that whole thing together now, and it's just coming back and realising what we have actually accomplished and what we have achieved. Not a lot of people can say, oh, we've done that, and facing these challenges, there's a whole load of things that go into it, and we've come back together.
You don't
so.
really realise what you've done until you've
Until you've done it,
exactly,
yeah, of
because
course.
obviously starting on the Great Wall of China is unbelievable, but with the heat in the moment and all the racing, you only kind of realise wow, we've actually just done that when we
Yes,
finished.
yeah.
So looking back, it is unbelievable.
I suppose it's hard to be present when you're racing.
Exactly,
So much of
definitely.
travel is like that, actually.
Yeah,
exactly.
Years later,
Yeah.
you look back and the
Oh,
memories
wow,
of it,
yeah.
and it really kind of kicks in.
Yeah.
You had the added challenge of diabetes,
Exactly,
which
yes.
must have been difficult when you got into
was-
far-reaching kind
Yeah.
of corners of the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never really had to travel with my diabetes before. It was something new that I was... Yeah, so it was hard, wasn't it? I mean, the new foods, new cultures, the heat can bring it down, stress. It was so much things to balance that.
Language barriers
exactly.
on the labels.
Exactly, no one else had to do. And obviously, buying sugar then was with our budget. We didn't get any extra things. It was new, but...
How are chicken claws for diabetes?
Completely fine, actually. No sugar, no carbs. Didn't need insulin for that.
Noted.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have them again.
All right
to
for
be honest.
diabetes, not all right for the taste bud.
And have you got the travelling bug now? Is this the end, or is this something that's really fueled you?
Far from the end, I
Well,
think.
as soon as we came back, we went straight to Australia.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thankfully, no budget. Otherwise, 3 days in,
Yeah,
we
we wouldn't have lasted.
We wouldn't have lasted, no.
Well, we can't wait to see what's next for you. Really, really
Good on you. It's
exciting,
lovely
isn't
meeting.
it?
South America.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
want
going
to
to
go
do.
back to Nepal.
Oh,
No way.
seriously.
There you go.
Oh, wouldn't you love to be that age? And all that travel ahead of you?
Absolutely not.
Wonderful. Enjoy it all.
Do it all.
Thank you.
Do it
Lovely
all.
talking to you.
Thanks.
Oh, lovely. Race Across the World continues tonight at 9 p.m. on BBC One.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
But behind the scenes, Leslie Garrett has been quietly battling a rare form of cancer with surgery that came dangerously close to ending her singing career for good.
I'm delighted to say Leslie joins us now alongside her oncologist, Dr. James Wilson. Good morning to you
morning.
both.
Good morning.
All happy, all smiles,
Yes.
all well.
Good to see you well. Good to see you well.
Thank you.
Gosh, what a journey though for you.
Should we start back, because it's the word that nobody wants to hear, and I know that there's a history of cancer in your family. Take us back to the beginning with you and your story, because this all started after you came across a lump in your breast.
Yes. We do have cancer in our family. We have breast cancer in our family, and I was checking diligently, and I came across a lump. And I thought, right, go and get this checked out. And during the course of investigating that lump, which turned out to be absolutely nothing, we discovered another lump. It's called an incidentaloma because it was discovered while they were looking for something else. And it's one of the reasons the NHS is so challenged, because the technology is so wonderful, they keep finding things they weren't really looking for.
Right.
And we discovered that on my thymus gland, which sits about here, I'd grown a little friend for it. I had a thing called a thymoma, which is a very rare tumour, apparently, on the thymus gland. Now, the thymus gland isn't much use once you're an adult. I think I'm right, aren't I, Jen?
No, you're absolutely.
It's more useful as a child for making T cells, apparently. And at the time, I had it tested, and it was benign, and it wasn't something that was a cause for worry. But then, a little while later, I noticed that my voice wasn't behaving properly.
And in what way?
Well, I was preparing a role for English National Opera. I was doing Beata because I'm still at it.
Rightly so.
Can't put a good Yorkshire woman down. And I was singing The Barber of Seville, and the preparation wasn't going as I'd hoped. And I was finding I couldn't reach the top notes that I used to reach, and it just wasn't working properly. So I went to my wonderful laryngologist, again at UCLH, my favourite place in the world. And John Rubin, who's known me for many years, said, no, your larynx looks perfect. There's nothing wrong. So I thought, well, I wonder if this thymoma that I had diagnosed the year before is starting to do something. Because it's such a rare cancer, nobody's quite, and that's why we want to raise awareness about it, nobody's quite sure how they work. So I went back and met, again, my wonderful doctor, David Patrini, who was Italian and loved opera, so that's a win-win.
There we go.
And he said that since I'd had it diagnosed originally, the thinking had changed, and now, rather than just watching and waiting, which is what I've been told we would do, the recommendation was to have it removed. And so that's what I was told I had to do, which was a little bit scary.
But a decision, I mean, you have to get it removed. It's a
well, you do. The
the
thing about this thymoma is that where it's placed, which is just to the left of the middle of the chest, it's on just very close to the heart. There are lots of other nerves and muscles in that area that govern the larynx.
Right.
So there was every possibility in my mind, anyway, that if something was going on there, it would be affecting my singing.
I mean, and for a singer to hear those words, I mean, that is like taking a bullet, isn't it?
Well,
hearing that.
When they described the operation they were going to have to do to get rid of it, that was even more frightening, because that involved a lot of cutting in that area.
So there are two forms of the operation. And welcome to the sofa, by the way.
Thank you very much. Really nice to meet you, Rochelle.
First of all, thymus. I should probably know what it is. I'd never heard of it.
I'd never heard of it until today.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? And I saw a nice picture that your team has put together to show people at home where it is. So it's something that, as Leslie says, it's something that during childhood, it's very important in the development of your immune system. But from puberty onwards, it just sort of disappears. So when you do a scan and you see something in that area just behind the breastbone, one of the things it could be is a thymoma, so it does need to get checked out.
And there's an interesting lesson here, isn't there, from Leslie, that sometimes you just have to keep going and keep asking questions and don't accept the diagnosis.
And listen to your body. I mean, nobody's going to know her voice or her breathing better than Leslie Garrett. Somebody who's had so much control and development of that over the years. You'd have detected a change.
Yes, it was subtle, and you're right. Perhaps somebody who wasn't a singer wouldn't have noticed it. I did notice a change in my breathing. I couldn't last phrases. I couldn't phrase in the way I used to. And all of this made me think, something's going on.
Yeah.
And UCLH were amazing. They took me totally seriously, immediately re-scanned me and said, yeah, we think this has got to come out.
And it is a lesson, like you say, Craig, that we say this a lot. It's so important for us to be in tune with our bodies and really listen to what's normal for you and know when those sort of signs start to appear. I want to talk about the operation itself, James, because this was a real, like, highly technical surgery.
Oh, hugely technical. And when you've got a rare cancer like this, you need a team who does it all the time. You don't want somebody who does 1 or 2 of these a year. You want somebody who's doing 2 or 3 a week to be doing your operation. And Leslie's absolutely right. Even a decade ago, Leslie would have had a scar from here to here and opened up the whole breastbone and opened the chest to remove this thymoma. Whereas it was just a couple of incisions on the side of the chest and then a robot to remove the surgery with a surgeon on the other side of the room.
My robot. I got to meet my robot, the Da Vinci robot. This piece of kit. I've always been interested in science. I always did science at school. I would have done medicine, which is probably why I married a doctor, if I hadn't done singing. And I was allowed to actually be introduced to this fantastic thing. It had arms, it had a personality, it spoke to me. No, but seriously, my wonderful surgeon, Dr. Bakri, was sitting 20 yards away in a corner, facing a screen with his back to me. It was like he was doing some fantastic video game, I was going, yeah, go on, get 100 points. But it was amazing. It had arms with little instruments on the ends. They made 2 little incisions here.
So you weren't awake for it. I know you wanted to be awake.
I would have loved to have been awake for it, but I got them to describe it in perfect detail. They had to depress this lung and keep this one inflated. My anaesthetist did an amazing job. He was a bit anxious, I can tell you. But they went in with one arm with scissors that cut round it, and then another arm with some tweezers that picked it up, and then they put it in a little bag, like Sainsbury's, and pulled it out. Take away tumour. I thought it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
One thing that really fascinates me about this story is that you have this surgery, we know how intricate it is, we know how technical the procedure was, but the very next day, I mean, this is just testament to you, isn't it? The very next day, you can sing.
Absolutely. It's testament to the fantastic care I received at UCLH, not just the surgical care, but the nursing care. I was so well looked after, as everybody is there. And yeah, the next day, I sort of was in my bed with the sheet up going, because you have to just test it out and see if it's there. Sure. And I was home within 24 hours. And the next day, I gave it a little tryout, and it was there.
And on stage,
it was perfect.
Within months, back on stage?
Yes, within 3 months, I was doing a concert in the outdoors
there you are,
in Bristol. Yeah. That's me and Roger giving it large. This was Land of Hope and Glory.
James, just a quick message to folks at home, because any time we do a story like this, people get worried and they spot things in themselves. What would you say to folks at home?
The first thing to say is thymoma is exquisitely rare. That's why you need to have specialist centres that do this all the time. But we've touched on the most important message from today, isn't it? Listen to your body. And I remember the 2 Ps. So we all wake up with a dodgy back now and again, but if you've got a system that persists and progresses over time, you can't ignore it. You need to go and get it checked out.
Good advice.
Thank you. And so good to see you well and performing and doing what you do best. Thank you for coming in.
A ray of sunlight in the studio this morning, Leslie Garrett.
That's the energy we need.
Good on you, good on you. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now, we upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Almost 9 million Brits are currently taking antidepressants, but it seems not just humans who need help.
Well, vets have reported a huge surge in prescriptions of puppy Prozac as owners use medication to help treat their dog's behavioural issues.
And that includes our next guest, Emma Reid, who says they've currently cured their cockapoo Chester of his anxiety.
But are they really safe to give to your pooch? Well, Emma is joining us now with vet Dr. Sean McCormack. Welcome to both of you. And welcome to little Chester, who's got his back to us at the moment. He's just chilling out.
He looks like he's
really having a lovely time. So, Emma, we're going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about Chester. When you got him, what was his behaviour like?
Yeah, we got him as a puppy in 2018, so before lockdown. He was definitely Captain Cautious, on the cautious side of life. He wasn't a really, aggressive sort of out there puppy. And we did loads of training with him, socialised him, stood on the street with fire engines, ambulances, so he was used to everything.
So you went for it?
Went for it. I had my list, I popped balloons, everything. And then we went through adolescence, which is when dogs can sometimes regress a bit in their behaviour.
Yeah.
And then we were towards the end of that, and I noticed that he suddenly was really anxious on walks. He started randomly barking, sometimes lunging at people. I couldn't pinpoint it to a particular type. So it became really stressful for him and for me. And in the family home, having visitors was difficult. They'd come in and he'd bark a lot. He'd run away. He was obviously a bit scared. Yeah. It was very difficult to manage for everybody. So at that point, I tried the training and then I sought the help of a behaviourist. Who went out on walks with us, saw that...
so they actually come out and they monitor the situation?
To see what he was like in certain situations and also try other forms of training with him.
Right.
But it was evident that he was so stressed that he couldn't listen. So that's when she suggested fluoxetine, Prozac, as an option to take the edge off so that he could train and learn. So that's...
You must have, like, because when you hear that word Prozac, it's like, what?
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I was exactly the same. I was, really? And, you know, when I mentioned it later to friends, their initial reaction was, well, firstly to laugh and then go, really? And then we talked about it. So, yeah, I never knew about it before.
So what did you notice with Chester and his behaviour, and how long did it take before you noticed a difference?
It was more quickly, it wasn't instant, but it was more quickly than I thought it would be. We just noticed that we were able to start to do more stuff. So you were able to intervene before he maybe barked at people. He was just slightly calmer, and then that got better and better. I mean, for example, this would have been a complete...
Could we not have done this?
No, I would never have come out here. I wouldn't even go into cafes and things with him a few years ago because he was just too stressed and that wasn't fair on him. So, you know, it's a balance of putting them in the situation but also getting them used to the situations. You can't hide away.
Okay.
Yeah, I think most pet owners as well, kind of, like, when it comes to medication and stuff like that, it's... You hear people around about bonfire night when there's a lot of loud explosions, and I think a lot of people have done that. But this is... Today, when I read about this, I was like, wow, this is totally new.
I mean, what are the people's reactions when you tell them that they're on puppy Prozac?
They think it's hilarious. I mean, he's not a puppy, so I've got to make that clear. So he's now 7, but he started taking it when he was just beyond 2, basically. They do think it's hilarious. I'm able to laugh at myself because it sounds like, oh, ridiculous dog owners who can't train their dogs and they go for this option. But no, I think done responsibly, it's helped him enormously.
Well, let's talk to Dr. Sean, because there's a massive surge in this drug being used at the moment. Firstly, is it safe for the dog for you to be doing this?
It is safe for the dog. So people are surprised to hear that, you know, human Prozac. It's the same drug, fluoxetine. It's a serotonin reuptake inhibitor is how it works. So it increases the level of feel-good hormone, serotonin, in the brain. It helps with anxiety, it helps with mood, it helps with energy levels. And for certain dogs, in certain circumstances, it can really improve their quality of life. Because it's important to say that if a dog is in a really anxious state all of the time, that's a welfare issue. That dog is not enjoying itself in normal life. So for some dogs, you know, they do end up on this drug long term. But normally how we prescribe it is as an aid, you know, a short-term aid to get them out of what Emma says, that heightened state of anxiety, so that you can focus on behavioural modification and getting them used to the things that they're afraid of. So normally it's kind of prescribed as a short-term kind of adjunct to behavioural therapy.
So you're not using it forever?
No. Do you know what's amazing? As you were talking, everything about that, then I was like, wow, we have come a long way since Barbara Woodhouse. Do you remember? It was just like, shit. And now we're sort of like looking at medication, anxiety in pets and all that. It's crazy, like, you know, what goes on now.
Yeah, our approach to dog behaviour has changed, you know, and most of the time now, qualified animal behaviourists are looking at what's motivating a behaviour. Why does the dog do that? Is that is that a natural and normal and advantageous behaviour for a dog? Or is that really a behavioural issue? And for Chester, you know, he was fearful. One of the symptoms was he would bark. And to a dog, actually, that's quite a clever thing to do, because if he barks at a stranger coming towards him in the park, either mum will take him away from that scary thing, or the stranger will give him a wide berth. And for him, that barking worked. That is an advantageous behaviour, so he'll learn it. And for these little breeds, these are complex little characters, you know, cockapoo, a mixture between a Cocker Spaniel and a Poodle. You've got bags of energy, you've got super intelligence, and they figure things out very well and learn how to cope, but sometimes it can be antisocial, it can cause stress for the owner. It's not nice to have a stressed out dog, is it?
Even though it's called puppy Prozac, you wouldn't give this to puppies, would you?
We don't give it to puppies. Emma did the right thing. You know, she got Chester before the pandemic. That's caused a whole rake of other problems, which we'll get to. She socialised him, you know, she did everything right.
Yeah.
But we can't medicate puppies when they're in that early development phase. And one of the most crucial development phases for puppies especially is called the socialisation window. And that's not, you know, going out for brunch with their mates or going to a puppy class once a week. That's getting them used to everything in the world that they're going to have to get used to and realise it's no problem. A fire engine goes past, or a person in a wheelchair is a common one. People say, my dog's afraid of people in wheelchairs. Probably because they just never experienced it before they were about 18 weeks of age. So really important to socialise them well.
Dr. Sean, just while I've got you, can you prescribe anything for my cat? Because he's got a really bad attitude.
Does he?
Doesn't even look at me.
OK, well, that's just a cat's prerogative, I'm afraid. Yeah,
there's nothing we can do about cats, is there? That's just how they are.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, if someone is watching at home and they're worried about their dog, would you suggest this, or would you say just go and get a full checkup, maybe at the vet?
Yeah, I would never suggest Prozac as a quick fix solution, first solution. It needs to be in concert with a physical exam by your vet, because sometimes some of the symptoms of anxiety, trembling, strange behaviour, aggression, they can be signs of pain, for example, can be signs of neurological issues. So you need a checkup by a vet first, make sure there's no medical cause. Then you need to go, as Emma did, to a qualified animal behaviourist who will come and watch you with your dog and see what's going on. And then, only then, maybe prescribing something to help kind of with the behavioural modification.
Well, he's definitely chilled out, isn't he?
That's nice and chill.
Look how chilled out he is.
He doesn't like fireworks at all.
Does
Out of
he not?
everything else, fireworks not a problem
my goodness.
at all.
We've had a
A
message here from
reply,
British Small Animal Veterinary Association. Dr. Julian Horde said, fluoxetine could be hugely beneficial, helping more than half of dogs with separation anxiety or dominance aggression, but he also warned against drawing parallels between depressed humans and dogs, saying we don't know whether dogs have the same sort of mental health issues as people.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I think as society changes and as the role of dogs in society changes, one of the mistakes we're making, I think, is that we're humanising dogs a little too much and we're forgetting that they're dogs.
Yeah.
We're not learning their language. We have expectations of them. You know, we're expecting dogs not to behave like dogs. So there's been a wave of pandemic puppies, and there's been a great study by Dr. Rowena Packer at the Royal Veterinary College looking at the pandemic puppy boom. We saw the population of dogs go from 9.5 million to nearly 14 million in just a couple of years. And by and large, I'm making sweeping statements, but by and large, a lot of them were first-time dog owners, inexperienced dog owners maybe who hadn't had a dog since their childhood. A lot of the puppies were bred to meet the surgeon demand, so not necessarily bred very well or with regard to their temperament.
Yeah.
So there was problems there. And then it was a perfect storm. We were all locked down, so you couldn't socialise your dog. You didn't have access to help, to a behaviourist. You know, so it's not people's fault, but we were all in a situation where some people said, this is the time I can get a dog. And I really want to get a dog. But for me, in my lifestyle, in my work life, I can't get a dog. So I've gone head over heart. But a lot of people went for that. And it has created this wave.
Yeah.
And I think, hopefully, we're riding the crest of that wave now. And the population of dogs that need Prozac, hopefully the next wave along will be better able to cope with life.
Yeah, Thank you so much for explaining so well. And Emma, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Chester, I mean, we can see it's
I'm taking him home, I think.
He's lovely. He's not having it, look.
Good boy.
Thank you so very much. Hi, everyone. Just wanted to say thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now, listen, we upload new content every day. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Before all that, our next guests have made headlines for their very hands-on role in the controversial new series Virgin Island.
As professional sex surrogates, Kat Slade and Andre Lazarus have been tasked with helping the show's participants overcome their intimacy issues.
But what sets them apart is just how far they're willing to go, which can include sleeping with their clients.
They're both joining us to reveal what really goes on behind closed doors. Good morning to you.
Thank you both so much for coming in.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
It's so interesting because when you first start watching the show, you kind of watch it a little bit like that, behind your fingers. And what's so interesting is how you see all of the people on there just grow and flourish. What's been your feeling of the reaction of the show?
Yeah, it's been amazing to watch and to see all of that back. I think it can be hard to watch like intimacy and to see intimacy. But being able to see the progression of everybody is so amazing.
We had two of them come on the show, and it was really wonderful to see how they've grown and the difference that it has made clearly going on to the island. Andre, just explain a little bit what a sex surrogate is, what's involved in your jobs and your professions.
So surrogate partners or surrogate partner therapy is where we, as the surrogates, work with clients and also a licensed clinician therapist. And we work on varying intimacy issues, the education, and then by the end of it, the idea is that we're all working in tandem towards an end goal.
And you know, but what we see in the series so far and what we've seen and your experience with the virgins that come on the show is you are there essentially as a catalyst for them to be able to explore physicality in a way that is safe and sort of conducive to them learning about what it is that they can do and how they can do it. Is that
Absolutely. Right? So it's about consent. It's all about choice, making sure we're creating a safe container. But really, it's about them learning about themselves. And then when they're ready, whenever that might be, to go into a relationship, now they have education behind that.
And how did you get into this? Because it's not a typical job that, people would necessarily talk about.
They don't necessarily have it down the job centre, do they?
Yeah, I mean, my background is in dance, and particularly like somatic dance and improvisational dance. And I found that those spaces had a lot of emphasis on like touch and sort of contained relationship. And I sort of was trying to find a way to incorporate therapy, but couldn't find the right thing. And then as soon as I found out this was a job, I was like, oh, that's my job. That's what I want to do.
My degree was in dance, and so I spent 3 years dancing with a lot, and it is a very physical, intimate form of art, isn't it, actually? And I can totally understand why, if that's something you've learned and you've loved, why you would want to be able to do that. And you can share, because the point is you're sharing your body with other people.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot, it's a very creative field, which I think people don't really think about it as, that way.
What do you mean by that?
Like when you're working with somebody and you're in a session, we have a general toolbox, but sometimes you just have to kind of see where they're at and see what they're feeling and come up with an exercise on the spot that will help them move through it. And I feel like there's a lot of similarities.
So Andre, Kat came from a very artistic background. Yours was very different, and you've come through a very different route to where you were. What was your background?
Yeah, I already had varying years of intimacy work that I was doing, coaching people through relationship challenges and other intimacy experiences. And then when I found out about surrogate partner therapy, I was really excited because I believe that working with the body is just as important with working the mind. And this is an avenue in order to do that. So yeah, I was really excited to actually dive in.
Yeah, it's hard for people on the outside sometimes looking in because so often intimacy involves emotion too. And it's an attraction. And
all the time.
Yeah.
Yes. So how do you differentiate and how do you keep things separate? Or do you, actually?
No, differentiate emotions and the physical side of things. We don't try to keep them separate.
Right.
We really want all of that to be a part of the process. I mean, it wouldn't really help people to just learn the physical without, actually being in it emotionally.
Yeah.
So we welcome all of it.
But Andre, isn't that exceptionally hard, though, to be able to do that? As a human being, it must be really difficult to be able to do that.
I don't find it to be difficult for myself, but I definitely understand how it could be difficult. And that's what we do with these clients is to show them that it's okay if there's challenges along the way. that we're all learning as we go. I learn as much from my clients as they learn from me. But sometimes we're not giving these tools in school, or our upbringings don't really give us enough guidance how to do it. It's just like expected you should know. So really, for what I find is that the more that we can actually form attachments with our clients, then the more they're prepared for the real world.
To Kat's point, intimacy does involve attraction, right? It has to. Physically, there has to be something that happens to a man if it's going to go further as well. How do you manage that, Andre, if you've got a client that perhaps you aren't sexually attracted to, but wants to take that further?
Physically, I would say that as a man, like, we don't have to have all of our body parts working in order to form intimate connection, or in order to have physical intimacy be something that feels good in our body. That's a common misconception, that we're supposed to have that. And really what we can do is tune into our body and say, I'm enjoying touch, I'm enjoying hugging, I'm enjoying kissing, and that can be an intimate moment. And then that takes us out of our head, which allows the rest of our body to come online.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so, Kat, who are your clients? Because obviously we see you with the young, I mean, they're all quite young, sort of mid-20s to early 30s on Virgin Island. What's the range and age of clients that you work with outside of the show?
Yeah, I work with a lot of young clients. I would say probably 25 to late 40s is the general age range I work with. I have some up to like late 60s. Really? But in general, that's the age range.
And what about your own personal relationships too? How do you handle those?
It's really easy. It's a job. It's part of my life, and the people in my life support me and understand how impactful this work is. And you get to see how impactful it is by watching this show.
Without a doubt.
Do you have a partner?
I do.
You do have a partner. And what does your partner think about what it is that you do?
Absolutely supportive.
Yeah,
yes.
Amazing. How about you, Kat? Is that a complication? Have you got a partner?
Yes, and I think it is a little bit more difficult for me. I think for me sometimes to have enough relational energy to go around can be a little bit challenging, and to know when to kind of fill the cup and when to give. I think it can be a little difficult, but I mean, ultimately, you know, there's more flow than not.
Yeah, and I'd imagine as well, for some of the people with intimacy issues, and you give every part of yourself to them, they can form an attachment to you as well. How do you navigate the period when the exploration that you've been doing with them and the teaching you've been doing with them has to finish, and then they have to go on? Because I'd imagine that connection would be quite hard for them to break.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really important part of the process, and most relationships end, you know, and so learning how to have a conscious ending to a relationship is just another relationship skill. So we welcome the attachment, and then we work through that ending, and the sessions are always one with a surrogate partner and one with a therapist, and they'll continue with the therapist after they finish with us to integrate and generalize.
So it's done side by side?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
And who do you think progressed the most out on Virgin Island? Who do you think, because we saw the difference, didn't we, even with Jordan and Taylor when they came on the show?
I don't believe I can pick one person.
Right.
Like, seeing everyone for the first time, coming onto the island, and then seeing them as they left, and you'll see the finale when we get there.
Yeah.
But everyone grew. I know that I also grew during the show.
What do you think is the most common misconception about surrogates?
The most common misconception would be that sex always has to be involved, or that sex is the main goal. And really, with surrogate partner therapy, it's all about connection, helping someone connect to themselves, connect to others. And while we can potentially get there with clients, there isn't like a goal, and the speed that we go and how far we go is client dependent. Yeah. So it really is all about relationship building more than anything.
Well, having had Jordan and Taylor in on the studio, and obviously the show was filmed about a year ago, the difference in the two of them from what we saw from those first two episodes was dramatic.
Confidence, how they help themselves.
Clearly have helped them
proud of both
enormously. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Sharing a little bit of story.
Oh, hello.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
If you've ever wished you could turn back the clock, biohacking could just be the answer.
Yeah, it's a wellness trend that involves small changes to boost your energy, improve your health, and even reverse aging.
Our next guest says she's done just that. Wellness guru Davinia Taylor, who's 47, has recently discovered that her biological age is just 20. She joins us now alongside GP Dr. Hussein to explain more. Good morning to you,
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm feeling like I'm dressed like a 20-year-old as well.
Very
I'm like, oh my God, is this too low?
Very nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So hold on, how have you worked out that you've got the biological age for a 20-year-old?
Well, what they do is they take, it's a company called GlycanAge, and they take a blood test and they just basically measure your inflammatory markers. I mean, I'm definitely not 20. I mean, look at me, I'm 47, but my inflammation markers are that of someone much younger than me.
Right.
And inflammation is the driver of, forgive me for overstepping, but the driver of most chronic diseases like cancer, like Alzheimer's, diabetes, heart disease. It's that inflammatory marker that is pushing you into that red zone.
So if you can bring your inflammation down internally, you can change
You're going to
it.
be more resilient. It's
Right.
about resilience for me. Rather than looking a certain way, it's about feeling confident that my body is working how it should do, or optimising it, actually, with a few little hacks.
So, Davinia, you've been on quite a journey through your life,
Yeah.
through your teen years, your 20s, your 30s, to where you are now. Having been an actress, having been very well known, having been a real party girl, having dealt with alcoholism and all sorts of addiction as well, your life has literally changed.
Well, I'm kind of lucky because I was drinking in my 20s really heavy. Alcoholism got me. So I got sober, like, at the end of my 20s.
Right.
So I spent my 30s and 40s completely sober. So I could then target on other things that were annoying my body, like as soon as I put the wine down, and it was always wine, white wine was the one for me, I picked up bread, carbohydrates, because it makes you feel cosy, it makes you feel safe like wine did, you know? And I didn't realise that was causing inflammation as well, and it was a carbohydrate addiction. And now I just have carbohydrates at night, like sourdough or roast dinner or something, because it makes you feel cosy, you get the carb coma, and that lulls you into a deep sleep, rather than having toast and croissants in the morning that can give me brain fog.
Yeah.
And I can't optimise myself, so I fuel my day on fat, which reduces my calorie intake, really, and the carbohydrate intake is reserved for when I want to feel cosy with the kids, having a big meal.
Yeah.
You know, it's about timing the food and what fuel source you've got in your brain.
Davinia, what do you think your 20-year-old Davinia Taylor would say to 47-year-old?
Oh, she'd say absolutely bore off. Absolutely boring. Don't want to hear anything about it. I mean, I would have, painfully boring.
But it's really interesting because we were saying about listening to you on Chris Evans the other day, and you've got like some tips for kind of even what you shouldn't be doing. Because what you always say is sometimes it's difficult to do what you should be doing. So what should we not be doing?
Well, I mean, there's so many things that like I said, timing your carbohydrates is a great tip. So just starting your day in the morning with putting like a fat in your coffee or your tea can really change how your brain works. I mean, it pushes you into a state of ketosis, which means the brain has a very smooth, calm energy rather than the up and down of glucose, you know? I mean, glucose is great if you're an athlete. We've got a triathlete doctor here, you know?
Yeah.
So that is great at a particular time. But if you're just like going from the kitchen to the car to the office, maybe change your fuel source and get sharper when you need to be and more focused on the job in hand rather than the food noise that we get. You know, it's making little tiny switches that you don't get the cravings anymore. And that was freedom for me because I get so preoccupied with what can I have next?
Yeah.
What's coming next? Where's my snack? It's 11 o'clock. Let's have a Kit Kat, you know?
We're going to come to your top tips in just a
Yeah.
moment. Dr. Hussein, do you find quite a lot of your patients are coming into you talking about those sorts of things, particularly the inflammation part of Davinia's approach to all of this?
Yeah, definitely. We've seen a much bigger awareness and concern in terms of how people are ageing. And I think that's fantastic. We've got more kind of health conscious nation that are looking on what they can do to support their health. And yeah, definitely patients coming in, asking questions about it, because there's so much information out there.
Yes.
And the information is really challenging because often it can be polar opposites. You know, one place is telling you, eat lots of this. The other place is going, don't eat this, you're going to die tomorrow. And so it can be very, very traumatizing for people trying to navigate it.
Yeah. And the terminology sometimes throws people as well. So what is biohacking, essentially?
Yeah, like, do you know what? Biohacking means something different to different people, if I'm being honest. But I would say it's trying to make changes within your behaviours, lifestyle, in order to optimise your physiology to live better for longer. And we're not talking about just the number that you reach in terms of your lifespan. We're talking about your health span, the number of years where you've got a quality of life and a health that allows you to do the things you enjoy.
So biohacking for me is just hacking into that biology. So I can make myself sleepy when I want to. I can chill myself out, but I can also rev myself up. I can focus. I can be excited at certain times of the day when it's appropriate. And that for me is control. So hacking into your biology, it's just like cleaning hacks. It's just fast track ways to make yourself feel better at the right time of day. And that for me is just control over my day. Because life is chaotic. We've got too much to do and yada, 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 and kids and everything.
Yeah. So let's start with, you've got 5 top tips for us, haven't you, Davinia? Let's start with the first one.
Well, I think that probably the most famous one is the cold water exposure, which revs up dopamine because we don't want to do it, the body goes into shock. So you have all these survival hormones all over you. But very quickly, you will start feeling a self-esteem because you've done something you didn't want to do. However, there's a caveat with this. A lot of people do cold exposure every day and they become tolerant. My tip is flip a coin, right? Heads, you go into the cold, and I'm just talking about in the shower. You don't have to, go into the Thames. Heads, you go into the cold. Tails, you don't, because the body is very clever at becoming tolerant, and you won't get that lift in dopamine, that lift in self-esteem, because the body expects it. Even doing it on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the body will learn.
And
so flip a coin.
If you flick tails, you don't have to go in. It's a massive relief.
Massive relief, yes. Either way, you win.
So does cold plunge work?
There's been a lot of evidence looking at cold exposure.
Yeah.
And we know that the body goes through physiological changes where it releases proteins, which help to dampen down inflammation when it's either in extremes of cold or hot. That's why you see sauna being used.
Yeah.
In terms of seeing significant benefits from cold water exposure, there are some. It's by no means huge, and there's more evidence that we need to collate from larger studies that are more controlled to really appreciate the benefits. However, harms are pretty minimal as long as you make sure that your health condition allows you to go through those kind of exposures and, of course, avoid hypothermia. So you need to ensure that you do this carefully.
You only need 30 seconds and do it on the back of your neck. So you're just activating that vagus nerve, the soles of your feet, and then get out. Yeah, that's it.
What about squatting? I've heard of a squatty potty before.
Yes, so squatting, we can move on to the toilet bit shortly.
Oh, okay.
So squatting is a really good way to... Yeah.
Yes.
So if you can just... The body is so good, it remembers, it's got muscle memory.
Right.
So from when you were a toddler, you've been learning how to create proteins by doing things like squatting, crawling, the body never forgets the recipe to create these proteins. So just by squatting, even just for 30 seconds, twice a week, within 2 weeks, you will gain muscle mass.
So a supported
really
squat like that, or would you rather see someone actually
No,
proper
absolutely,
deep
you
squat?
can do this in your sitting room. Even if you can do 10 seconds, guaranteed a week later, you'll be able to do 20. It's way more, it's brilliant because it's not like fat loss.
Right.
You see the gains very quickly. Just write it down. It'll be fantastic. You'll suddenly feel self-esteem and it'll encourage you to do more. Muscle mass is longevity.
Yeah.
It's something that I try and do, things like that. Certainly for my mobility as well, my lower back. I find that if I can actually work on my squat and how long I can hold a squat, makes a big difference. And as an athlete, you must feel the same.
Yeah, physical activity, when we're talking about longevity, it's the biggest lever. It is the thing that we look in science, both from a fitness perspective, assessing VO2 max or muscle function. It has a really good correlation when we look at all-cause mortality, so your risk of dying early, essentially. Yes, the wall squat that we had the image of there, that's fantastic because it's an isometric exercise. You're holding it, so your muscles tend to then get a lot of blood flow going in. Lots of evidence to show that's great for blood pressure, if that's something that you're struggling with. But also, when we talk about movement, the next movement's the best movement. If doing a squat is not your cup of tea and you're not going to really do it, don't. Just find a movement that you enjoy and think of non-traditional forms. Think of dancing, gardening, going for walks with your friends. And if you feel more confident, then access more specific movements in the gym because they can be very specific and they can really help you to build a strong body. Because as you rightly say, muscle mass is an underrated commodity and really important for metabolic
Great for the immune
health.
system as well, isn't it? Stops you from getting ill.
Lifting the legs when you're
Oh, yeah, quick one. So when you're on the loo, get the old toddler. Do you remember when your toddlers were training to use the loo? If you can lift your... I can't believe I'm doing this on TV. If you lift your knees up above 90 degrees, it helps with the transition of the waist. Yeah. Basically, we should really do that. It was kind of... I think the Victorians invented that loo, that 90 degree. We should be going lower. It helps with hip, but also the digestion. So that's if you're a little bit constipated, lift up the legs.
That will definitely help.
Yeah.
We've not got any time left, but so you've got 2 more to do. Which ones would you like to do? We've got natural fats and forest bathing. Which one do you want to talk about?
Forest bathing, fabulous because we've had beautiful weather. If you go through the forest, you will reduce inflammation because the sunlight going through the leaves creates NIR, near infrared light, which makes you feel calm.
And that's something I'm sure you agree with. It's a bit like...
Yeah. It comes from the Japanese Shinrin-yoku, which is forest bathing. And essentially, it sounds very posh, but just spend some time outside in green spaces. Do it with your family and friends. Maybe do it at Park Run on a Saturday.
Yeah,
think about how you do.
Love that. Davinia, lovely to see you. Thanks for coming. This is Davinia's book, Future Proof, Build Resilience, Feel Younger, Live Longer. She's done an incredible job and is out there. It's really fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.